Hello, everybody, and welcome to Light of Illumis, a short D&D campaign about 4 clerics who are going to change the world. And hello to our wonderful cast. We got, where am I over here? We've got Trump over here, and we've got Live in Pink, and then down there is Ryuzilla. No, over there is Ryuzilla, and down over here is Nick, Greenzerg. Hello, everybody. Hello, old friends. How are you all doing?
What's up?
Hey guys,
Really excited.
Hello, yay!
happy to be here. Yep, as usual.
Excellent. We're coming together for a short campaign. We're doing 4 sessions of 3 hours each with a very specific purpose in mind. Our characters are on a self-imposed holy mission to change the way sunlight works in the world. There have been too many undead. They've been ravaging the lands. Jen's character, Sister Helen, is the one who came up with the idea of all of this. She is from a small island called Scrub Isle, off of Gade Isle, off of the larger continent of Arcadia. There she served under the Longborn family for many years as a cleric of Illumis, the sun god, until one day a necromancer by the name of Philosopher Winters began to overrun the island of Gadia. In her quest to rid the world of undead, or at least her island of undead, she's traveled the lands of Arcadia looking for answers. And the answers she's found, of course, Cleric of Illumis would come up with this, is that sunlight. Purifying, cleansing sunlight. It kills vampires very quickly. If only it could kill other undead. And so she began a long quest to find a way to cause sunlight to burn the rest of the undead. And a way she has found. We'll get into those details in a little bit. But first, let's walk around the table and introduce our characters so everybody knows what's going on. And let's start with who else but the Cleric of Illumis, Jen, Sister Helen.
Yes.
Who are you?
I am Sister Helen. You did share a little bit about my background, so I will not repeat it. But indeed, Cleric of Illumis, servant of the House of Longborn. I am obviously the chosen one, considering that my hour of birth was high noon on the summer solstice, and a traveler happened to drop a golden coin shaped like the sun on the day of when I was born. Sorry, my window just left me and I cannot see anything anymore. All right, so my character has I decided to be very original and basically do me, which I've never done before, but I thought it worked out. So my character has extremely pale skin, which is totally not good for when there is sun. I have red hair, 0 sun resistance. However, since I am blessed by Illumis himself, I believe that I have to spend as much time as possible in the sun to receive as much holy energy as possible, which causes me to have major permanent sunburns and occasional peeling, which reminds me daily of how powerful the sun is. Yes. So it's basically me in the sun forever, and then my skin really cannot tolerate it. It's horrible, but I'm extremely thankful for it.
That's great.
Yeah, it reminds me to be humble.
And what can you tell us about your character?
What would you like me to tell us about my character?
Oh, are you an only child? Do you have a family? What is aside from, purging the world of undead, tell me just a little bit about your character, a little bit of personality, maybe, likes or dislikes, any major enemies.
Well, I do definitely have a major enemy, Philosopher Winter, the evil necromancer who has been plaguing the Longboard lands. He decided somehow to raise hordes of undead near our lands. So that's why I had to leave my beloved Longborn family and go figure out a solution for this necromancer problem. At first, I thought it would be simple to just get rid of this one necromancer, but to my, terrible surprise, I found out the necromancer and undead issue was more widespread than I expected when I reached the mainland. So, you kind of just put your finger into the the thing, and then your whole arm is caught up, and suddenly you have to save the world. Not
What do you
just
mean it was a bigger problem when you got to the mainland? What else was there going on?
Oh, I discovered there was a bunch of undead all over the land, and it was an uncontrolled problem, and nobody was dealing with it. People were just being overtaken by them. So I had to do some research, like you said earlier, DM Neal. Had to do some research to figure out how do we get rid of the undead, or at least control them. And by doing all this research, or slowly collecting one undead at a time and exposing them to my scientific research of sunlight exposition, I realized that they are all more sensitive to light than even me. They don't just get sunburned and peel their skin off. They slowly dwindle down over weeks and weeks of exposition to the sun. It is just a very, very, very slow process. And this is why we need the Philosopher's Stone.
Why? What does the Philosopher's Stone help you with?
We need the Philosopher's Stone because the Philosopher's Stone is an object of great power that we heard about that will allow us to channel magic and hopefully channel the light with a ritual in order to amplify the light's power and rid the land of the undead, at least during daytime. For nighttime, we'll just figure it out, you know.
Well,
We'll just
if they're
run and
only
hide.
around during the day, it's not so bad, right? You can't amass
during the
an
night,
army
yeah.
during the yeah.
Yeah, we'll be fine. We'll just hide. You
Excellent.
know, I can't solve everything, just most of it.
Yeah. Great. And just a couple more questions for you. Where's this ritual going to take place?
Yes. We will have to go to the holiest place we know, the Pyramid of Heatstroke. It is the area that is said to be the closest to the gods and has the strongest connection to them. So, of course, we must bring the amplifier, Philosopher's Stone, to the area of great connection to the gods, the Pyramid of Heatstroke. But in order to do that, we will have to face many, many dangers. Many undead, probably, and cross many lands, including the Golden Sea Desert. Yeah, Golden
Excellent. Very good job, Jen. Well done.
I studied up a little.
All right. Next up to introduce their character is going to be Greenzerg. Who are you and who are you playing, my friend?
My name's Nick. You may know me from such other D&D campaigns as Frozen Frontier, Teams of Scoria, and Hardcore Heroes. I am playing against my own better judgment. This is how you know that Neal made our characters. I am playing a dwarf. Luckily, though, it's stopping me sleeping at night, and so I'm awake to play the campaign. My dwarf is named Kerberos. He is a cleric of Falumbra, and he is from High Castle. I think he probably originated from the Dwarven lands just to the north of High Castle, but finds himself now living in the city as somewhat of an advisor to the court of the king/duke there. He's quite a strange individual. He's kind of like a therapist. He's going to ask you about yourself. He's going to try and understand who you are, not the face that you present to the world, but he wants to know exactly who you are. He wants to know where to file your soul when you die and it returns to Falumbra. You know, if he can send a little message up to Falumbra, say, file this one in the evil section, makes their job a little bit easier. So whenever he meets new people, he wants to know what their intentions are. Doesn't really care either way, whether their intentions are good or bad, but mostly cares about them being true to themselves. He's lived a life of, advising and magic, living in the city, helping the nobility there, helping the royals there. He's not really a fighter. He's sturdy. He's a dwarf, and he's not weak or anything. He's got an axe. He's got some armor that he can wear, but he's not really a fighting dwarf. And against his natural instincts of self-preservation, he finds himself on this holy quest. And I think the reason for him going is mostly that he's old. I'm not sure how old is for a dwarf, Neal. How old do dwarves live?
A couple hundred years?
It's probably, 150 plus, something like that. You know, he's served a good life. He's served many different dukes and kings and whatever. And, you know, he longs for the touch of his goddess. He wants his soul to return to the moon. And he's been looking for a good way to achieve this. And this holy quest, if successful, will be a great achievement. And if we fail, then he will return to Falumbra with good intentions and a happy heart.
Excellent. And our next character is none other than Trump. Who are you and who are you playing?
Hey, I'm Bert Holt. I am a cleric of Tempos, and I've got the tragic backstory of being in this general region. I'm from the capital, Stormheim. Stormheim has been overrun by undead, and while I used to be just a advisor in the area, helping people with their life decisions in the Temple of Tempos, now I find myself not able to do that because the capital is in ruins, and even I have to pick up my arms in these trying times.
Does that mean you didn't used to walk around with weapons and armor?
No, I used to prepare no time and tell them helpfully to the people in the city if they needed that information. Did you know that's a first level spell in this game?
It's a good one. I hear that's OP.
I hear there used to be like a person you could just call up and they just tell you what the time was. Is that you?
I used to, prepare it just in case someone needed to know and they were in the area.
And
now though, no time.
And what are you up to these days?
I've sworn to try to return Stormheim back to its glory, to set this entire region back into its rightful path, as Tempos says that it should be. And I'm saying that undead are not part of this plan for Tempos. Tempos is the god of fate. We all walk down one true path, and this is currently not the right way. So the right way is making sure all these undead are eradicated from these lands.
So now that Stromheim has been overrun by undead, where have you gone? Where have you traveled to?
Good question. Where?
I think you ended up in Confluence and High Castle and traveled around in this region maybe a little bit. I think we're gonna pick up our game in High Castle. But what else can you tell us about your character? What else? Are you an aggressive, mean person? Are you, bitter and angry about the world?
Outwardly, I'm a tall, middle-aged man, and a man of few words. You would see me as basically stoic, or uncertain whether or not I harbor, what level of vengeance I harbor for the undead. But clearly my goal is to set things right.
Let's see, a man with a purpose these days. Excellent. And last but not least, we have Ryan. Tell us who you are and who you're playing today.
What's up, guys? My tag is Ryuzilla, and I am playing Cornelius. I am a cleric of Malchus. So to tell you a little bit about my god and myself as an extension of my god, he is the god of chaos and the god of humans. So what does this mean? Essentially, he believes that people gain strength through chaos and complacency through steady times. So the goal is to create turbulence, keep people on their toes, and that will create the strongest people. Essentially, like people who are turbulent waters create the strongest swimmers is one of his quotes. So my goal is to keep people on their toes, And also, since he's the god of humans, my job is also to help protect humans. And currently, since they are under attack from this undead menace, using my my chaotic nature, my goal will be to protect
And
humans.
you want to protect the humans. You also
Yes.
want to cause chaos. How does that
Yeah.
how does that work in a time like this when, undead are swarming over everything? Isn't that sort of a chaotic time?
It is, and I guess I kind of view that as a good thing. I think during this chaotic time, the cream will rise to the crop. Those who are good swimmers will rise to the occasion, and their strength will be shown in this time of chaos, I think.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, we are going to start our story just as we are acquiring this holy item, this powerful magical artifact known as a Philosopher's Stone. A Philosopher's Stone is a shard of the staff that supports the world that has fallen to the ground, and it's essentially like pure magic in crystallized form. This Philosopher's Stone is you can think of it as like a block of C4 or like a nuclear bomb. It's a ton of power and it condensed into a small area, and it amplifies magic. Can also amplify other things. If you were to hit a Philosopher's Stone with a hammer, it would probably explode and kill you. But if you use it to cast a spell, it'll cast your spell much more powerfully. However, a lot of power like this needs a lot of control, and if you use it recklessly or carelessly or without really knowing what you're doing, a lot more is going to happen than you intend, most likely. So it's not the sort of thing you can walk around with and just like use to cast spells willy-nilly unless you're happy to risk life and limb immediately. One of the things you need this for is for this quest you're on, this quest to change the light. And part of that quest involves a ritual. And we don't have a ritual yet. Part of the game, part of our 4 sessions here, is going to be coming up with what a ritual would look like to invoke Illumis, the god of light, to change his rays to burn the undead. So as our campaign continues, we'll be checking in with the players to see if anyone can come up with a good ritual for this, or maybe one person gives a little component of a ritual and another person gives another component, and together hopefully we will come up with a good ritual. Now, good rituals also need materials, so let's hope we come up with this before you arrive in the Pyramid of Heatstroke. Otherwise, someone might have to do a store run to the next town over to grab some holy oil or some incense or whatever it is. But to start our game, we're going to start in a tavern. Just as this figure Grimes is walking out the door after having handed Sister Helen this Philosopher's Stone, he's brought it to you in a box. Much like this one. It's small-ish, it's wooden, it has silver and lead lining on the inside of it, and if you open it, inside you will find the Philosopher's Stone itself. The silver and lead lining of the box is to try and suppress the magic from the stone from other people noticing its effects. Anyone that might be casting a magic spell in the area or might be casting a detect magic spell in the area, you don't want anyone to accidentally notice this. But so great is the power of the Philosopher's Stone that it will leak through even those magical barriers. And so in the tavern, let's get our tavern music up and running. Our party is sitting in High Castle. The tavern here is, well, let's just set the scene for High Castle. High Castle used to be a great city, one of the 5 great cities of the land. But through the undead scourges and the wars that have plagued the lands recently, High Castle has become a shadow of its former self. The streets used to be guarded. There used to be patrols of soldiers. There used to be order here, but now the soldiers really just operate out of small bases. Once upon a time that, one soldier could walk through the streets and keep an eye on things. And then maybe 5 or 6 years ago, things became too chaotic for that, and single soldiers couldn't keep a hand on things. So they worked in patrols. And a few years after that, things got even worse. Bandit gangs began to pop up, and small patrols of soldiers could get ambushed and killed. And so now they sort of work out of little stations scattered throughout the town, going out in large groups for specific tasks, which has left the streets of High Castle with laws that nobody can enforce. So the whole place is sort of, there's refuse everywhere. There's crime everywhere. It's sort of a might makes right. Everyone hires bodyguards and has weapons. Thieves abound. It's a dirty, nasty place, but still, it's one of the few places where civilization still rests. And here we are in this sort of dingy tavern, sitting in like the poor district of town, away from the guards, away from the nobility, away from all of those fancy things, in this little corner of the city. And here you've been given the Philosopher's Stone in this box. And Grimes, the man who's giving it to you, walks out the door, leaving the 4 characters sitting around a table, drinks in hand, maybe some food on some plates, looking to one another. Your holy quest is now officially begun.
Kerberos is staring into the eyes of, Jen's character. Can you tell me your name?
Sister Helen.
Sister Helen.
Sister Helen, yeah.
staring into Sister Helen's eyes as she receives the stone. He's trying to look to see how she reacts to it, try and glimpse her intentions.
Yeah,
just weirdly sort of staring at you in a strange way.
I do give it a quick look, kind of stealthy, and I do a solemn nod, and then I will pass it around for each of you to take a look, because it seems like something all of us should at least look at once before we seal the box forever until we make it to the end of our journey.
Yeah,
I get to do a little round table.
As each of you pops it open and looks inside, it looks like a rock. Like it's a rock you'd find outside. It's not shiny. It's not faceted. It's not clear. It's just like a piece of gray rock that someone picked up on the ground.
I go like, what a wonderful, wondrous item. Oof, my eyes are not worthy of such a sight. And then I hand it over.
Are you sure this is it?
Can't you feel his immense energy just channeled through you as you hold the box?
Perhaps we should check. You said that man's name was Grimes, right? I've heard his name around. I think he might be a man of ill repute. I have the magics ready.
Okay.
I'll stand up from the table with the box closed in front of me, and I'll look around me, Neal. The bar, is it super busy? Do I feel like I can cast a spell here without...
It is a very
super
busy
trouble?
bar. There's a lot of people about, but everyone's sort of keeping to themselves. They're kind of like talking quietly. If you were to cast a spell, it would be noticed by everyone about, for surezies.
I've got a holy symbol on. I'm literally at a table of 4 clerics. I stand up, we get a look at Kerberos now, right? He's wearing chainmail and leather limbs and he kind of looks like he's squeezed into his chainmail. Like perhaps it was made for him many years ago when he was a bit more svelte. Maybe even he's had to replace the limbs with leather just to get a little bit more breathing room. He's got a long ginger beard, braided with moon-shaped like hair clips, like holding the braids in his beard, and long ginger hair as well. And if you get a glimpse of his arms, he's got tattoos up and down his arm of the phases of the moon. So he kind of stands up, clears his throat, looks around at the people, making sure that everyone who's heard him clear his throat sees him and realizes, who he is. And then quietly, but not super quietly, will cast Detect Magic.
Yeah.
And
I'll cover from by saying, let us all pray and celebrate this meal. Thank you all for joining us. And I start muttering as well. Not a spell, but...
Yeah.
With,
I'm gonna... Oh, sorry, go for it.
with one cleric standing up and doing this thing, another cleric getting up and like making a thankful speech about the food, the people in the bar kind of get quiet for a moment. The tone drops down. There's just a few clinking of silverware on dishes and a glass being set down here or there. And you can see like out of the corner of their eyes, everyone starts looking in your direction.
Oh, I'm gonna reply. Oh, no need to worry or look, everybody. Don't worry. We're just very thankful for this holy meal we're about to share. Just 4 clerics finally gathered together. It's so nice to have such a holy presence among us. Feel free to join us in a prayer before we eat this food.
Give me a charisma
I
check
encourage
then.
you to hold hands with the fellow people at your table while we do this little ritual.
Can I get?
Yeah.
Is it Birdie and Sister Helen
Yeah.
to roll me charisma checks? Did I butcher your name, Trump?
That's an interesting abbreviation. Berthold.
Berthold.
Birdie.
I thought that he in the Discord he
charisma
said
check.
something. Yeah.
Okay. A 31.
Oh my god.
I feel like we got a lot of people being very faithful right now. You got to be thankful for that meal.
After I cast the spell, I will open my eyes again. And do my eyes look different? Do I have like a purple sheen or something to the whites of my eyes?
You tell me. You tell me how the magic works.
That's how I'm imagining it. I think all the different vision spells kind of change the white color of your eye slightly. Detect Magic's quite a weak one. I think it's purple, but it's kind of like a light kind of just lilac tint to the eyes. And I will very, very slowly and cautiously open the box. I'm imagining I'm seeing the aura of the Philosopher's Stone spilling out from the case before I even glimpse the stone itself.
Yeah, I mean, even as you just look down towards it, you can feel and see this like powerful aura emanating from the box. It already looks to be a strong aura before you've lifted it, but as you begin to lift the lid on the box, the stone within shines so brightly that it actually begins to blind you, and you have to turn your eyes away. So great is the power.
I close the box as soon as I'm certain that this is so overwhelming that it's obviously the Philosopher's Stone, and I close it back down and I look, narrowing my eyes at the 3 people in front of me.
You'll see that there are no longer 3 people in front of you. There's maybe 12 people. A whole bunch of people have come over with those prayers to come and, make offerings and blessings over dinner. And there's also a couple of folks by the door who like got up and left when you were like, everyone come, prayers for lunch. And people just like skedaddled out of there.
Yeah.
Under my breath, I say, am I the only priest of Malchus? I feel like everybody's doing a great job creating chaos over here. I don't even have to do anything.
I will close the box and eye everyone at the table and then slide it back over towards Sister Helen and say, you should keep close care of this. There are many in these lands who would want to take it from us.
Then the miracle has indeed occurred. So I finished the prayers with everyone. I let them scatter. And then I am basically beaming with pride because we just acquired the most important artifacts for our mission. And then you can see that I would want to get up and kind of, do this big, sermon. But noticing that we have, this very precious artifact that maybe somebody would want, I figured I should try to contain myself and stay seated. So I'm going to start my speech.
Well, before you start your speech, you'll notice that not everybody has left. There's a couple of people standing around, and what's in the box? They begin to ask.
Oh, nothing. Just it's a little stone to remember, to remind us to stay humble. I like to carry around reminders of how simple life can be. I don't think they have magic powers, right?
There's just some dude at the bar.
I think you just have to believe in it. Just like your faith.
Fucking cleric, he says as he walks off.
That the stone is in there. I guess I'm gonna wait for everyone to eat with us if they wanted to, and once they scattered, I will do my speech.
Yeah, I mean they look at all the stuff that you're doing, but then you're not gonna show them the thing that's in the box, and they're all interested. But when it becomes clear that this is a cleric only thing that only sacred clerics get to look at, they walk off in frustration.
All right.
Right.
Then I guess I will like say I will not speak very loudly, but I will happily say, dear brothers, I am thankful. And I actually take out a little paper because I wrote this speech because I knew it would happen. I knew we would get to stone. I knew this moment sitting at this table would be occurring today. So, dear brothers, I am thankful. Take out the paper. I am thankful because today marks the first step of a sacred mission to save the world from the unholy undead. As a vessel of the great observer Illumis, I have observed that all of you are the greatest clerics for this grand mission. Your skills, your experience, your unshakable faith in your gods will certainly be needed to succeed. Thanks to a man named Grimes, although he didn't seem reliable, he pulled through. I knew he would. I wrote it on this paper. I knew he would pull through because he reported to Knight Kel William, who is definitely somebody we can trust. We retrieved an object of incredible power, the Philosopher's Stone. A miracle in itself. It is proof that the gods are with us, and that our destiny is to go on this quest together. We must go to the holiest place we know, the Pyramid of Heatstroke, to complete the sacred ritual, to amplify the pure holy energy. And then I kind of cannot contain myself, and I get the pure holy energy of the sunlight and achieve our purpose. How lucky are we to be the chosen ones? I cannot wait to go on this journey with you and rid the world of the undead. I sit back down. I am
Yeah. Well.
Marvelous. That was marvelous, I say. I cast Blessed Watchfulness on myself.
amazing.
What is that?
What does it do? Yeah.
There's no obvious effects, but since you all are clerics, you should know that Blessed Watchfulness basically makes you watch better. I'm noticing that this is going on with more pomp and circumstance than I would have personally liked, so I'm just watching it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Well, now that we've got the niceties aside, every great adventure should start with a drink and a toast. I'll raise a mug of ale and say, to the future of Aridon and the destruction of the undead.
Ah, exactly the words I like to hear. I like cling my glass against his.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers. I sit back down and I turn to the sister and say, I appreciate you're excited, but I know this place well. It's a hive of villainy and disrepute. You should be more careful about brandishing the things you own here and trusting the folk that live in these cities and streets.
Good to know. From where I'm from, everybody is to be trusted, really. I've never been disappointed in the trust I put in someone. Honestly, I was about to show this stone, but then I could see your look. And
Yes.
I thought, he's giving me the eyes that say, don't do this.
I wouldn't like to think how many men and women have died in pursuit of that object.
Well, your wisdom will sure be useful. I will always take your feedback. Thank you so much for telling me. I'm extremely thankful for your contribution today. It's already a great start.
Yes. Wow,
Good.
Helen, where is it that you come from that you're able to still maintain such cheer?
Oh, it's from the lands of the Longborn family. They are such great people. They've raised me good and well. And, I have not been sequestered at all in this little castle and domain basically my whole life. Or have I? I spent a long time there, and everybody there is quite great. Until the undead kind of arrived and ruined everything. But, I still hold dear those memories from my younger self.
Okay. Do I personally have knowledge of where that is?
Yeah, if we look at the world map, so Stromheim is down. Here we go. Stromheim's down over here. You guys are now over here in High Castle. The pyramid you want to go to is over here in Heatstroke. And she is from this island, way up here. This little tiny mountainous rugged island.
Also, how concerning. I didn't know that undead could swim.
It is a great mystery how they reached our area. You are correct. I even believe, based on how scattered it now is, that, the problem has, exited the land we are on here and reached my island. Maybe the necromancer is to blame. But it is a great question to ask ourselves. Another great question would be, how did it even start? Why was it not this way before, and what triggered this amplification of the undead?
And Bert here has come up with an excellent point. Undead not only can't swim, but flowing running water is one of their greatest weaknesses. If you toss a regular old undead skeleton into a river, it'll break up the skeleton and kill them. Even a zombie swept down a river will be destroyed by it. A lot of undead would be they couldn't cross an ocean or a sea or a strait. They might be able to wade across a small creek or river, but certainly this is an impossible thing for them to cross on their own.
They must have had help from somebody else.
I'll say the undead were always here. They were just biding their time. When the strength of Eridon crumbled, the necromancers hidden away in the woods and the forests emerged with their hordes of undead and zombies. I suspect this Malsifer Winter of yours on Gadia is just a different necromancer than the one that plagues these lands. We should think of a plan. We need to travel to the northeast. This will take us across the Tam River, through the Thistle Forest, perhaps along the River Crooks directly into Fortune. Although that may be ill-advised. The necromancer, I think, resides there.
You have such knowledge of the lands. I'm incredibly thankful to have you on this party. I admit I have not traveled here this much. So I will trust your judgment on the path to choose. You are there for appointment. You are there for appointed our navigator, our holy navigator.
Fantastic.
Amazing. Lovely.
Speaking of these things, does anyone have any ideas? It doesn't have to be the full ritual, but any parts of this great ritual that you will need to change the skies?
I was thinking maybe a bunch of mirrored surfaces on hinges, and we could angle them all so they reflect the sun's light into a crystal of some sort, maybe into the Philosopher's Stone. Funnels the sun's light into the Philosopher's Stone. Maybe we could do something with create water to have like a waterfall flow down from the center to the top of the pyramid, like down the sides of it to simulate the running water that's the weakness of the undead.
Oh, I love what you're thinking. I was also thinking of mirrors to reflect the sunlight, but I love the addition of the water. I was also thinking of something to magnify, like a magnifying glass or lens.
Lens,
something like that as well. What about you, fellow brothers? Do you have any ideas how we could complete this holy ritual?
Kind of like the mirror idea.
Yeah, of course, all clerics are blessed with the ability to turn undead, so perhaps we should focus those efforts on this stone, which amplifies our abilities, from what I've heard.
Maybe as we go on our adventures, we should identify more weaknesses of the undead. The water, the sunlight, amplifying things. I bet we'll find more weaknesses as we go. But we should keep an eye for the glass, a source of waterfalls.
The mirrors are things that you can buy in any major town. Some of the smaller podunk towns, probably not so much. Mirrors in this time and age are just like pieces of polished metal. So either like brass or silver usually, that have been like really, really, really finely polished to reflect light properly. But that does mean that they're actually kind of heavy because they're like big chunks of metal. So you could get like a small mirror like this, or you could get like a tall standing mirror, and that'd change the weight and change the costs. but they're going to be big and heavy and on the more pricey side. I'm sure you can solve that problem as it comes up, but make sure you bring these with you if you need. Great. Well, with our first discussion about rituals and components underway, what is your first step here in this tavern?
Well, I'm wondering, we could get a boat and sail to Weatherlight and then walk to Heatstroke, but maybe we'd miss out on the journey. Perhaps the answers to our conundrum here will present themselves as we journey across the lands to Heatstroke. So maybe we should go on foot through the Thistle Forest, meet up the River Crux, follow it north past Fortune, and follow it all the way to Heatstroke.
Neal, what do we know about crossing the river? Is that a journey that people have been doing lately at all, or is it very dangerous, or do we need to seek out information from someone?
The River Crux has a few crossing points. Copper Hill is one of the major ones right here, and there is another bridge across it somewhere in the middle. There used to be more bridges, but in recent years, many of them have been destroyed. You've heard that at least one of the bridges is still open, but you're not sure exactly where along. The River Crux is sort of like especially up here in this area, is a bit of a canyon. So it's like a pretty steep drop down and then a river and then a pretty steep rise on the other side. It's possible that you could scale the cliff sides, but failure of scaling the cliff sides might mean certain doom.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
So I'm from Copper Hill,
Language,
Yeah.
please. Just kidding.
and I can tell you that even though I prefer chaotic and turbulent times, our town was so overrun with demons and undead that we should find a different path.
Yes, is that the same fate you found there in Fortune? Is that how you know about the undead there?
I believe that Fortune is this. Neal, tell me if I wouldn't know this, but if Vicious has sieged Stromheim, it's known that he's the necromancer in charge of the undead in Fortune, right?
Mm-hmm. And he also
Yeah,
sieged Meadstead and Tharnham.
The Duke of Fortune disguised himself as a man, but has been living eternally for centuries. A necromancer. His name is Vicious, and he led an army of the undead through and over Copper Hill and destroyed Stromheim. If we will need to pass Fortune, but we should not step foot on its stones. We should avoid it at all costs.
Do any of you, or myself, know the status of these other towns on the map, Weatherlight and Plainsview? And Heatstroke itself?
I think Weatherlight's probably okay.
You would all know that Plainsview has been destroyed. Heatstroke has been overrun by demons, and then I think the demons seem to have just dissipated and disappeared. No one's really heard much about it since then, but there are no people left in these towns. These towns are completely abandoned. And generally, anything south of this line, anything down here is ruined and useless. Most of them are abandoned, some of them are burned. The whole south of this landmass is gone.
We could travel north following the Tam River, pass through the ruins of Meadstead. Perhaps there we can find some undead to study. Once we reach the Hemdorcus Hills, Neal, this is the home of the dwarves. Perhaps I could find us passage through the hills, come out the other side, travel along the coast to Weatherlight, buy our final provisions, and then follow the coast down to Heatstroke from there. This would avoid Fortune.
You've lived in High Castle your whole life, right, Mr. Dwarf?
I think most of it. Maybe his family moved to High Castle when he was only a wee dwarf. And then his parents died or something, and he's just found himself there. So I think he was probably born in the Dwarven lands, but spent most of his life in High Castle.
Yeah, well, you give me, I see you have a local history proficiency. Would you give me a local history proficiency check?
31,
oh my God.
Neal.
Natural 20.
That's it.
All right. So what you
we're
know
going.
is that once upon a time, ages ago, there were supposed to be tunnels that connected Tharnham, Keldaram, and Milfell Dur. No one really knows what happened to them. They were lost a long time ago. However, you also know that in the most recent years, when the undead sieged Tharnham, that the dwarves there, guided by some clerics, have redoubled their efforts to break away from the rest of the world. When the kingdom of Eridon fell, the dwarves decided to proclaim this northern area a kingdom unto its own. And so they have been working very hard to establish a solid dwarven presence. And with their short legs and their slow walking speeds, traveling over hills is really not the preferred method. It is possible that they have rediscovered those passages or rebuilt new passages. Certainly, they have been working to find a way to connect these towns and travel safely between them, especially Tharnum. These other ones, in theory, you can go by boat. Tharnum, though, is sort of landlocked. There are goat trails that lead these places. But they've been looking, searching for other ways.
Well, seems there
I'm
are
with the
many
dwarf.
paths we could take.
I think going north is our best bet, at least to start.
I wasn't expecting to agree with you, Cleric of Malchus.
Yes, well, the humans usually are my top priority, but when you make sense, you make sense.
Yes, Malchus and his love for humans. The rivers of blood stain the lands of Eridon, and Malchus's hands are soaked. You can laugh.
I'm confused.
Yes, well.
All right. Out of the tavern we go, setting out into the city proper. The area out here is, well, we're sort of in a slummy part of town. It's not a great area. There's a lot of refuse, trash and debris. People just throw their chamber pots out into the streets and wait for it to rain and wash everything away. There's all of these towns being overrun. There's a lot of refugees lying around. There's some people who have possibly died or been killed in the night, and no one's there to dispose of their bodies. So occasionally there's like a corpse just like laying there until someone decides to do something about it. But also, society does continue. There are bustling shops with bodyguards out front, making sure that like no one's stealing wicker baskets or anything like that. Everyone is finding an opportunity for employment in some way or another. If you can stand there and look menacing, you can find a job. So into the dark and sketchy streets of High Castle we go. As you make your way towards the exit, walking through the narrow boulevards, you'll see that the people in front of you have parted ways a little bit, and there's some suspicious glances. Straight in front of you, across one of these four-way intersections, are a group of armed thugs, brigands, thieves. You can tell that they are these sort of roguish characters, not only because their weapons are already drawn, but because they are looking in your direction. They don't seem to have any armor. Armor is expensive in these days and age, but they are carrying a variety of short swords and rapiers and, mixed up miscellaneous things that they probably picked up off of the dead. And there they stand, these three people, as others folks like scatter out of the way. And one of them levels a sword in your direction and says, "Clerics, I hear you've got an interesting prize in that box. Why don't you hand it over? We can all be on our way."
Does Bert's watchfulness tell us anything extra about what's going on?
His watchfulness prevents him from being surprised rather than giving additional information, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Okay,
pretty
great.
much right.
Yeah.
No one should be surprised by this.
Yeah.
I look
Are
to
you
our
s-
leader.
Are you certain you want to challenge the servants of the gods themselves just to get the puny rock? This is just a reminder of our daily smallness in the face of the gods. I like to carry just a little reminder. Also, exposing your skin to the sun constantly is another way to remind yourselves of how great the powers of the gods are. Are you certain you want to face that?
Get a little bit closer. What do you mean it's just a rock?
Honestly, it's not even worth much. You said the blessing, and I choked on a freaking chicken bone while we were having dinner. It's not even worth anything, if you ask me.
Then you don't mind giving it up, right?
Yeah. Is it just? I mean,
It's not
do we just
mine.
see 3 of them?
That's a great question there, Bert. Why don't you roll me a perception check? That'll be under the basic tab of your character sheet.
Okay.
Just the big PCP button on the lower left.
PCP. Great. I first try to see if there's only 3 of them before basically going to my threat.
It's not only 3. You start to glance around, and you'll see that behind you there are another 2.
Okay. I just speak. I speak forward. I look forward straight to the speaker there and say, "Did you know that we clerics have waded through hundreds of undead? Imagine you living such a fruitful life as the living and wanting to take on us." I brandish my warhammer and I'm saying, "You should get out while you're still. You should get out, and we'll forget this."
Well, let's take a quick moment and talk about your gear. Everyone here has some sort of armor. Mr. Helen's wearing leather armor. Names are so small. I'm reading them. Here we go. Karabaros is wearing mixed chain and leather. You also have a shield, but you're probably not. Are you carrying your shield as you walk through the streets? Is it, attached to your back? Are you?
It's strapped to Bonnie.
Oh, to your mule.
Yes.
Oh, let's get a mule for us here. What about our next player, Cornelius? You also are. You've got chainmail. You're the strongest of the bunch here. You've got like 17 strength. You've got
I
a
think I'm
big
kind of
ass-
the tank. The tank.
Yeah, you've got a big ass footman's mace with you. Do you carry your shield like ready for combat at all times, or are you more like you keep your shield tucked away until you're prepared for battle?
I'm gonna say ready for combat at any at any moment.
Well, that's very convenient.
Yeah, that's just how I roll,
Makes sense. And Berthold, are you also always ready for combat, or are you like you keep your shield tucked away until you expect a battle?
I'm certainly not always ready, but since we have like a super powerful artifact, I have been ready since the tavern.
Excellent. Nick, how much HP does your mule have?
Sadly, he's not the sturdiest of mules, and I could maybe do with replacing him. But me and Barney, we've been through a lot together. It's because sentimental attachment. He's got 7 HP.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, the speech has been given. The rogues do look a little bit concerned to see so many people in armor. 2 of them with like shields already out, some war hammers and maces in hands, and the third one in the back who's been talking, says, "If it's just a dumb rock, you wouldn't mind showing me then,
I pick up a rock from the ground and I'm like, just like this one, my child.
Then why don't we trade your rock in the box for that rock on the ground?"
I do not negotiate with strangers asking for belongings from the church.
Yeah, kicks the guy in front of him, says,
It's usually the other way around, where there are donations, for the gods. If you want, you could add something, and I will happily carry it as a reminder of your great generosity and faith in the gods.
He bends down, picks up a loose stone, hands it to the guy in front of him, gives him a little bit of kick, and says, "Darius, why don't you go trade rocks with them?" And Darius begins to step forward and walk across the now abandoned street.
I'd take a step forward. This farce has gone on long enough. Unless you want to go and meet Philumbra right now, you should turn around and leave this place. You will not glimpse what's in our box.
Give them a little morale check. There are a bunch of well-armed clerics. Oh, these rogues run this town, or so they think. Darius steps forward, and I think this person right here is Cornelius. And he reaches out to hand Cornelius this stone from the ground and says, "Here, well, I'll trade this for whatever's in your box."
What do you truly want? It is not your curiosity that needs to be satisfied. You must need something else. Are you hungry? Are you sad? What burdens you? I put my hand on his shoulder.
So you step forward past the others and put a hand on his shoulder.
And I ask him what burdens you. How can I really help you?
I don't know. My boss didn't train me for this line of questioning. I think I'm supposed to just give you this rock.
Well, I will happily hold on to it for you and remember your generous contribution. Thank you. I pick up the rock and put it in my pocket.
Yeah, he heads back the other way and goes to talk to his boss. You can hear after a few moments the boss be like, "You idiot! Fucking..." And the boss puts his fingers in his mouth and lets out a whistle. And stepping out from around corners elsewhere in the village are some more of these roguish-like figures that come forward. They were hoping, obviously, you can tell now as they step forward, they were hoping to catch you in the pincer in the middle of this where they could surround you on all sides, but you're not budging, and screwing with poor Darius here has foiled their ambush. We'll come back on the other side of our first break with what is definitely going to be a battle. These rogues are not going to be turned away. They're far too curious about this item that has brought 4 clerics of completely different faiths together for this mysterious box. We'll catch you all on the other side of our break. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our game. Before our combat begins, we need to talk about our spells. Each of our clerics have many spells that they can cast, but we haven't had an opportunity to go through and take a look at our spell lists. We're doing something a little bit different from our normal 2e campaign. I've assigned specific spells to each character based on their god's ethos and their god's domains. It's a very different spell list than we've seen in the past. So there's a little bit of overlap, but each person more or less has spells that are unique to them. So let's start with Kerberos. What do you have for spells today?
What do I have memorized? I have 1 animal friendship, 2 cure light wounds, a detect magic that I already cast, a cause fear, and then for second level, I've got 2 cure moderate wounds, 1 dust devil, 1 hold person, 1 speak with animals, and then for third level, I've got summon animal spirit.
Right. And you get a lot more spells per day that you can cast because of your exceptionally high wisdom and willpower that we can see is 16 for you. So you get extra spells that everyone else I think is at 3-3-1 or 5-4-1 or 4-4-1, something like that. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, and I'm at 5-5-1. Yeah.
Right. Helen, what spells do you have prepared for today?
That was my question. I haven't figured it out. I know I can
first if you want to stall.
Yeah, go for it. Take some time. I will pick some.
Berthold.
Okay. I almost considered picking No Time, which is really quite bad, but I looked at every other choice and I was like, No Time is not that bad. But I decided to choose no second level spell slots. It seems like you've given me all terrible spells. So they have been moved to the first level spells. I've got 1 bless, 1 blessed watchfulness, which I cast, 1 command, 1 detect magic, 1 light, 1 remove fear, 1 sacred guardian. And then my third level spell of choice, I almost considered the third level spell, which gives 1 advantage roll to somebody. But instead I chose memory read.
He's been giving me so much shit for the spell No Time, and it's a bad spell, but you're the cleric of fate and time. You have to know No Time.
No, that is a great choice. I think throughout the camp, I'd like you to weave in 1 single instance where it'll be used, and that'll be awesome. I'll try my best.
Okay. Maybe some sort of timing attack where the two people have to do things at the precise
I was
moment.
thinking that No Time would actually be extremely useful in battles of grand scale.
We could, when we do the ritual, we could do it when the sun is at the highest point in the sky, and we can use no time
Oh,
to.
that's a
Oh
great
my
at the
god!
perfect moment.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow.
Thank you, Nick. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. Bert Holt, did you pick remove fear or cause fear?
Oh, I thought if you picked remove fear, it counted as cause fear. Is that not the case?
You have to choose which version when you memorize the spell.
Okay, it is cause fear.
Cause fear. Excellent. All right. Next up is going to be Cornelius. What spells did you pick today?
Okay, so help me out and tell me like what are the parameters for what I can pick? Because
Right. There's going to be 3 from the first list, 3 from the second list, and 1 from the third list. I think I DM'd you some recommendations.
Okay, so like when you say the list, you sent me like a big list of spells, and they're
Yeah,
one,
open
2,
your
and 3.
character sheet on Roll20, and in
Okay.
there, it's already opened to a page where there's a list on the left, a list on the right, and a list on the bottom. You can see they're labeled first, second, and third.
Yeah. Okay, I see it.
Yeah.
So tell me again.
3 from the
It's-
first list, 3 from the second, and 1 from the third. And in your Discord DMs, you'll have a recommended spell list. And while you peruse those, we're gonna go back to Helen and see what Helen has chosen for her spells for today.
Yeah, I'm gonna be fine. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, cool. I got it. All right. So I conveniently had memorized and prepared the following 5 spells for level 1. I have Fairy Fire, Light. It's nighttime, right?
It's
Or, like,
daytime now, but it
dusk.
can
Oh,
be
it's
nighttime.
daytime. It's okay. So Fairy Fire, Light, Remove Fear, in case somebody gets cause fear. We didn't want everybody to panic. Somehow Sister Helen got this under control. Sun Scorch and Wind Column. Second level spells, I got Flame Blade, Heat Metal, Obscurement, and Zone of Truth. And finally, level 3 spell slots. I really didn't have any good combat spell in there. I went for Locate Object just in case we lose the box.
That's a
That's
great
a
idea.
really good spell.
I feel like this might come in handy.
All right. Last but not least, Cornelius. Have you?
Okay. These aren't going to be the best because I haven't like read through and know what all of these do. But
Hey, you're a cleric of
I'm
chaos,
just
man.
Yeah. So we're just gonna pick.
Just do it randomly.
Yeah. Okay. So for my first level spells, I have Command, Cure Light Wounds, and Battle Fate.
Nice.
For second level, I have Chaos Ward, Cure Moderate Wounds, and Enthrall. And my third, I have Random Causality.
Ooh.
Oh, nice. Whatever that is. It sounds awesome.
I don't know what it is, but it's.
I don't know what it is, but it sounds chaotic. So.
Alrighty then. Our rogues over here have whistled for reinforcements. Reinforcements are beginning to show up, and so it is time to hop into combat. This is 2nd edition AD&D revised, and so for combat, we all roll a 10-sided die, a 1d10, and then we add to that a number based on our action. So if you're going to fight, you're going to add to that the speed of your weapon. If you're going to cast a spell, you'll add to that the speed of your spell. And the lowest number is the best number. You want to be as close to 0 as possible. I'm going to start rolling initiative for our monsters. And so
good thing for people to be aware of here. If you get damaged before your initiative and you're casting a spell, you lose your whole turn. So, like, if you're on the front lines and you think you're going to get hit, just, be careful.
Yeah. True.
I do have one question just before we announce initiatives and spells. Does Fairy Fire still work when it's daylight, or is it only at nighttime?
That's a great question. I think I'll have to reread Fairy Fire.
Is casting time 1? Is that like instant?
It's fast, but not fully instant. It's the fastest that your spell can go.
Okay.
Ryan,
Oh,
are you
no,
the guy with the hammer in the middle, next to me?
On the
Yes.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
Cornelius.
Can
Yes.
you defend me so I can cast a spell without risk of getting hit?
Yeah, sure. We allowed to like combat strategize?
I
Absolutely.
mean, I think I can just shout, like Cornelius, defend my rear.
Yeah, sure. Gladly.
Okay, I got my own answer, Neil. I figured it out. I reread the spell a third time, and somehow the third time it worked.
Okay.
Okay, that's a good point, Nick, about the spell casting and interruption. Now I'm questioning my life decisions. Who's at the front? Is there somebody else covering us, or just one person? Should we do 2 casts to defend?
I think so. I think me and you should cast, and the other two should defend.
Yeah, I got
Personally.
pretty terrible armor. Anyway. Okay, then I'm gonna cast something.
Excellent. So it sounds like Cornelius is going to be defending. It sounds like Kerberos and Helen are going to be casting, and Berthold.
Well, hold on. So, how do you see when your turn? Do we see our turn orders before we make our decision?
No.
No, you make your
No.
decision, then we roll for turn order. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sure. Okay then.
Okay.
Okay, I will be using my Warhammer this turn.
So yeah, Ryan, if you want to use your weapon, what you want to do is select your token, then go to the combat tab on your character sheet, and hopefully you'll have a weapon set up there. And as long as you've got your token clicked and you click the initiative dice next to the weapon you want to use, it should do it automatically and add you into the turn tracker.
Oh, that's cool. I did not select my character. Do you want me to roll again, or do you want to
Well,
set
No,
it?
you can just
Character-
add it manually.
Go to combat.
Mm-hmm. And then hopefully Neal set your weapons up. I don't know if he has.
I think I did.
Okay. Great. So I should press like the melee button right now.
No, the initiative button. It's like a little
looks like a
dice, purple
die.
dice.
Yeah. There you go.
Yes, there you go.
We need to change your token name. You are not Malchus. You are Cornelius.
We have rolled poorly on initiative.
Cornelius.
That'd be good. We wanted them to come up here.
Yeah, but they're going to get a chance to attack me before.
And Jen, did you roll for initiative? You did. Oh, you rolled real bad.
Yeah.
hmm
I can't help but roll high.
hmm
The peanut gallery commentary that you guys actually got what sound like useful spells.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about my spell. If I can cast it, I'm pretty stoked.
Okay. I might prepare all no time to spike Neal tomorrow.
This is revenge for the monk and the stun everything monk. This is the long
Wow.
vengeance. The first character, this is Darius, the other guy who had been just humiliated a moment ago. He gets the kick in his butt from his commander and comes right for Sister Helen, brandishing his short sword, and he swings it thrusts it in your direction with a thrust for your gut. And I
there
believe
goes your spell.
AC
Oh,
is
that's a great
14.
Start, isn't it?
Yeah. He quickly and easily penetrates your leather armor and sticks you with his sword for 4 points of damage. Your heat metal spell is quickly interrupted. You lose focus on it, fail to cast it. Please record 3 points of damage on your character sheet. Or on
Right.
your token. If you just click it, there's a
4 damage right now, not 3.
4, yes. There's a green circle that you can just put -4 in.
Rules question: does that consume the spell slot?
It
Yes.
does, yes.
Holy yeah!
Yes, spellcasters are very powerful, but also very weakened. Vulnerable. That's the word I'm looking for. Oh god, you guys did roll like crap. Our
Yeah.
second bandit will come forward and make a charging, rushing attack at Bertolt. And he will do the same thing. 1d20 with a 9 on the attack. His short sword will skewer into your armor and slide off to the side, clattering against the building next to you. The other bandits crowd forward, but they can only fit so many at a time. They can't really surround you. That's why they wanted to get you in this like flanking middle position. What does happen though, since you're all literally going last, every bandit goes before the party, is the last two people at the back will come forward. One of them sliding beside the mule, the other coming up next to the mule to attack Cornelius over here. With a 1d20 to hit. It's a natural 20. He stabs you from behind Cornelius. It's a
Wait, I was
blow.
turned around to defend the back, right? So I feel like it's not from behind, right?
Yeah, he can turn, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't realize you had turned to face them. So it's just a regular hit then. It's not a critical hit. And he will stab you for 1d6 damage, 2 points of damage to Cornelius. The other rogue, he sees this mule's in the way. What did you name the mule again?
Barney.
And our bandit over here is
Oh
going
wait,
to...
I didn't roll initiative for Barney. Can you
Barney's
give me
not in the
control?
fight. He's just chilling, right?
I mean,
Barney's involved in the fight. I mean,
He's got-
if he can be
+3
killed,
to hit.
he can move.
Is he a war mule? Does he know how to fight?
Yeah, why do you think he's positioned his back legs to the enemy? He's ready
All
to
right.
kick.
All right. Roll me initiative for Barney. He's a medium or a large creature?
I'm not sure. I'll roll 4 as a compromise.
It's a level 5
11.
mule.
Barney be kicking.
He's kicking. All right, don't fuck with Barney. He's been through some stuff. Trust me.
He has a better initiative than all of us. He
Yeah.
knew. He could feel it.
He is medium, so that should actually be a 10 on his initiative.
Nice.
So Barney will go before this last guy comes up. Yeah. So as this other person is approaching,
Kaboom! Right in the fucking chops.
how does Barney
Let me just-
know to attack this person? Explain it to
It's
me.
it's instinct, Neal. You come up behind a horse, it's gonna kick
They-
you in the face. That's
they
like
have a
day one
deep-
horse riding.
Deep connection. Deep.
Yeah, that's true. Well, actually, that's a good point. I have animal friendship, and I've had Barney for a long time. And the spell says that I can teach him up to 3 tricks.
I see.
And one of those tricks is I give him a command in Dwarven, and he kicks his back legs.
Well,
So
Barney, go ahead. I think Barney kicks with 2 attacks, right?
I'm just checking horses, mules. Yeah, 2 attacks, 1 or 2. I think one's a bite and one's a kick. Is it?
Yeah.
You have reinforced horseshoes, right? Double damage.
They kick
Doesn't-
at +3 actually, and +3 to hit, and they do D2 damage per kick.
There's 2 kicks.
Mm-hmm.
D20 +3.
He's better than all of us.
Oh,
Oh, no, he's
Wild
not.
misses. All right. Our last bandit will come up and is going to attempt a unproficient animal handling check. So this at disadvantage. I'm going to roll it twice. Natural 1 on the first one. Doesn't matter. He tries to get Barney to like come with him and lead him away, but instead only agitates the mule into utter anger at this man who dares intervene, leaving us with Berthold, who's the first one of our party to go.
Great. I swing my warhammer on that
Kapow!
bandit, and kapow, as you said.
The warhammer goes wide. Whoosh! The bandit ducks underneath it, takes a bit of a defensive stance, and taunts you. Is that the best you've got? You better give up the stone now, or we're gonna take it from you. Cornelius.
Yep.
So,
and in the meantime, I attempt to slide towards the middle of the alleyway as well.
Mm-hmm.
To
Pick up that.
be
center
there
position.
when she inevitably backs up.
Gotcha.
As I'm defending, I can still like attack the guy next to me.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Great. Then I. So. I will swing my mace at the. Well, let me ask you a question. So if I try to cast a spell, like right now, can I cast a spell right now, or do I have to use the weapon?
You have to use the weapon. Yeah, at the beginning of the
I have
round, you decide if you're going to cast a spell or use an attack.
Got it. Okay, got it. And then if I do decide to cast a spell, if it's like speed 1,
Mm-hmm.
how does that determine if I get like, how do I?
Right. So you would roll a d10 plus 1, and if that number is lower than your enemy, you cast before your enemy. And if it's higher, then they get to act before your spell goes off.
So I'm like rolling lower dice essentially.
Yeah.
Okay,
On initiative,
got it.
low is good.
Okay. All right. Well, I will attack the close one with my mace.
Great. That's the ATK button on your character sheet next to Mace, and 13 is a hit. Our Mace
right.
swings right into the guy's chest for 4 points of damage, knocking him down to half health right away. His eyes sort of stutter. He blinks twice and with his free hand clutches the spreading bruise and the like cracking of the cartilage in his rib cage, leaving us with Kerberos.
You muted.
Thank you very much. Just checking my spell components. Okay, I withdraw a very straight piece of iron from my satchel and sort of holding it aloft above my head, I brandish it towards the group of soldiers in front of my friends here at the front, the big group of like 5 there, and we'll cast Hold Person.
On this group of 5 up here. All right. Hold Person affects 1d4 enemies, so roll it.
Big money.
Okay, 3.
Nice. I will make 3 saving throws for them. And it is 1, 2, 3. One of them will succeed, and 2 others will be held. I'm going to mark them with some yellow dots that you know they are held.
Nice.
They are frozen in place.
And then I take a step forward to the in-between section here.
Right. Last but not least is Helen.
Can I actually do anything since I was interrupted in my spellcasting?
Your spell was interrupted, so your action is basically gone. You could move away. Normally, if you back up, you would provoke an attack of opportunity, but right now, the people in front of you have been held by this spell. They are frozen completely in place. They cannot strike you, and this guy is across too much of a weird house.
So I
corner to
can
do
move
anything.
at the very least. Okay. I will definitely take a convenient step back.
Yeah. Nick, you gonna move to the sides so the 2 of you can occupy that middle space, or?
Yep, that's
There
fine.
we go.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Our party circles up like this. It's the next round, so we're going to roll an initiative again. So you'll decide on your action, declare it for the group, and then you'll roll the die and the modifier equivalent to what you want to do this round. So let's just start with Kerberos. What are you going to do this round, Kerberos?
I'm going to cast Summon Animal Spirit.
What's the spell
what's my
speed
initiative?
on that one?
The
6.
speed is 6, yeah. I get
Excellent.
a 7, so the initiative's 13.
Excellent. And Berthold, what are you going to do this round?
I'll be bringing down the hammer.
Excellent. Cornelius, what's your plan?
Same.
Hammer time? All right. And last but not least, Helen, what is your plan?
I will attempt to cast light very fast.
Ooh. And I'll add these for the enemies. 5, 7, 11, 9, 10, 10, 13. Excellent. Oh, and would you also please, Nick, roll for... Is it Barney? I've already forgotten his name.
Barney, yes. Can you give me control of the token so I can...
Yes.
Which I guess it doesn't matter, so...
There you go. There's Barney.
He doesn't have a character sheet anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He gets a 9. I'll add him in if I can. Well, I can't. You have to do that.
I got him already. Okay. So our first bandits will go. This guy decides to, there's too much battle happening, so he's going to go over here and hold the street, make sure no one else comes in to harass. This guy right here is the next one up, and he's going to try and grab his friend and pull him back to safety, because this is not really, this guy's in the way, so he just hooks his arms underneath him and drags him back like this. And then he'll take up a position over here. Not quite engaging with the big scary fighter, but getting in the way so the scary fighter can't go anywhere. Same thing with this dude.
I'm number 8. I forgot to click.
Oh. Ooh. Then let's move you over here. You are up next.
Okay, since that's the poor guy in range,
Wait, don't I cast my light at 5?
I'm
Yes.
sorry, yes, but didn't update on your character sheet. I am on the initiative order.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
we need to remember to click our characters.
Yeah.
Our bad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Helen.
Okay, I will do it next
Upon
time.
whom are you casting light?
The leader of the group, please.
This guy back here. Yeah, so
Yeah,
light
he
is,
hasn't been so kind. He's kind of
Mhm.
obsessed by my rocks, so he's gonna have to
Mhm.
back out.
Those of you not
Yeah.
in the know, light creates light, but if you center the spell on the visual organs of a person,
Yeah.
you blind them.
You know what I want to do, Neal. You
That's-
know me. Yeah, that was
He
the
makes
plan.
a save and will fail the save, and light begins to radiate from his eyes, brightly shining in all directions, and he lets out a scream as he goes blind.
Mhm. I tell him, retreat, or else you will forever be blinded by the light of Illumis. And then I ask him to pull back his men.
Right. Bertolt,
Mhm.
it is
Blind
your
you.
turn.
All right. As I swing the hammer, I'm gonna shout out at the top of my lungs. I cry out for guards. And here's
You're attacking this guy, right?
yeah, he's the
He's-
only one in range.
He's held, so you get +4 to that roll, which makes it a 21, which will critical the target. So you can roll your
Nice.
damage a second time.
All right.
Wow.
That.
5 points of damage brings him to half hit points. And I think in this situation, since he's held and can't manage his weight at all, he also goes tumbling to the ground and falls prone on the floor.
It's a disadvantage for us. All right, perfect.
Right. This guy over here. His leader's blinded. 2 people are held. But you know what? He's got this. This cleric just attacked. If he could just take advantage of this opportunity, he thinks, as he steps forward with his short sword, driving it right into your shield, bending the blade, bending the rapier slightly, and it unfolds as he backs up, not actually hurting you in the slightest. And Barney, the angry mule, who was just
Well, okay, listen, to be fair, I feel like now no one's standing behind him. He's probably just chilling.
well, this guy did just make an animal handling check to move him and rolled a natural 1 on it. Don't you think that would
Good
make
point.
Barney mad?
Yeah. Okay, I think he kicks him and then he's going to run forward into the sort of
All right.
relative safety of a square forward, but he will make an attack here.
All right.
20 plus 3, 10. D20
10's
plus
enough?
6. Oh, 10's enough. Okay.
And yeah, these guys aren't armored. Armor's too expensive.
Take a kick to the face.
1 point of damage, and then he forward.
Yeah.
Okay. This bandit is held, can't do anything. This guy back here that is fighting Cornelius is wounded, and these bandits aren't going to fight to the death over a box that they don't know what's in it. They'll fight.
Yeah,
They're
seems-
willing to risk their lives, but at 4 HP, this guy will take the disengage action, which prevents attacks of opportunity, and he will back the fuck up. He's not going to die for an unknown rock in a box. Leaving us with the leader, who is blinded. Well, his action was going to be attacking, but now his action is going to be checking morale. And with an atrocious morale check, he will call off the attack. Retreat! My men, to me! And he'll start stumbling backwards, reaching for something until he can find the wall on his side and begin to slowly back up, leaving us with Cornelius's turn. You've just heard the cry for retreat. There's this guy. He's near you. You'd have to move forward to get him. Are you interested in hunting down this would-be brigand, or are you gonna let him do his thing?
No, I'm gonna smack him.
Forward goes Cornelius.
Okay.
The attack roll is a wild miss. The guy's already on his back foot. He's already getting ready to get the hell out of here as your mace comes down near him, but not on him. This bandit's doing his thing. Kerberos is next.
Yeah, I'm going to cast Summon Animal Spirit. And I think I'm going to cast it somewhere about here. Don't know if it gets to act this turn. It takes the form of a ghostly wolf.
A ghostly wolf. And tell us
Yes.
about this animal spirit.
It has, I think, 2/6. Some decent combat stats. It's got 24 movement, 16 AC, plus 5 to hit. Does
I meant
2d4
more like,
damage.
Does it, does it follow your commands? What does it look like? The lore behind the ghost wolf. What is this thing?
Yeah. Okay, so it's a minor spirit or entity. I control it with my mental commands. It can attack enemies. It can perform any other tasks that it could reasonably accomplish. It's incorporeal. Can't pick things up. Can't be hurt by non-magical weapons.
Oh my god. Really?
Yep. And it's got 16 HP. No, 15 HP.
OP.
That's like super OP.
Really good.
Jen, you will remember, Jen, at least I remember, you had a druid and you quite stupidly wandered out of the town at night on your own and got attacked by 2 displacer beasts. And this spell
I
almost
remember like that.
this
I
spell
remember
almost
that
saved you.
actually.
It
You're
did not
right.
save you,
I
but
don't think it was.
almost did.
I think it was a cleric, but I was like a hippie cleric that loved
Yeah,
nature
yeah.
That
and
was,
was yeah,
what character was that?
Jackery.
Is this a joke?
Jackery, the one who was drugging his fellow party members with his
Yeah.
drugged up poultices.
I
You know,
remember
my
that,
best
yeah.
3rd level spells create campsite.
I have really bad level 3 spells, to be honest. Like,
Neal knew you would get too much value if you had good spells, so he just
Yeah.
he gave you the bad ones. He gave me the good ones, but I don't know what to do with them. So
All right, your wolf has been summoned. I think it will appear this round and can act the following round.
Yep.
And so now there's a wolf here. But our bandits have been given the sign to retreat, and retreat they will. This one had already rolled in to attack. He'll retreat next round. So this round he's going to attack dear Cornelius. 20 with a 5. It just skims off your armor, goes to the side, does nothing. And you can hear the calls for retreat. The bandits are clearly going to fall back. If the party wishes to continue engaging in combat, please roll back into initiative. If you want to let them retreat, you need do nothing, but hold your hand.
Well, we've got at least 2 prisoners because these guys are held for like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're gonna have a conversation with these guys. Yeah.
I don't think we necessarily need to kill the others, but Kerberos at the end of his round will go and heft his shield off the side of Barney and sort of get it ready on his hand and like smash his axe against it and sort of step past him to take this position here. But so I'll attack this guy if he tries to run, I guess, but I'm not going to chase them through the streets.
Well,
that's
contrary
this-
to that, I'm just going to tell the guy in front of me, "You fools, take your people and go."
It's not. I mean, you're the cleric of fate and time. You don't see their fate as to die here in these streets today.
Yes, I also don't see it in our fate to question them at all.
I believe we should bring them to the authorities so that they can handle them properly with the system of justice.
Oh, sweet sunchild, that is clearly not how it works here.
Yeah.
Just let them go.
These bandits all quickly peel off. This one down to the bottom turns to flee, just like turns his back and runs away. If either of you here would like to make a free attack of opportunity against
I
him
will
to
like to
knock
make
down a
yeah.
fleeing man in the back,
Do I get back attack bonus for that?
you do, but you also get like penalty to your your spirit as a human for
Not really.
beating a man in the back as he's beginning to run away from you. Isn't that a dishonorable deed?
I feel like
Um,
on the contrary, these guys I view as like the weakest swimmers. And so
Yeah.
I feel like I would get being a cleric of Malchus, I would get a bonus if anything.
Mm-hmm. You gotta like you're purging the weaklings from the
Yeah,
pack.
exactly.
Okay. Well, both of you please make
So I
attacks
also
at
want
this
to
guy
attack, yeah.
at +2.
Yes.
That's a 9. You're gonna miss him with your stubby dwarf legs. You just can't quite catch up to him as he bolts away. And Cornelius will crack him with a 19.
Pretend
a
that's +2.
solid
Yeah, okay,
blow.
yeah.
And roll me some damage there, Cornelius.
Yes.
I don't think I entered your weapons right. You should have a +1 to damage too. So that's gonna be a 3 on the damage.
Okay.
Your mace like hits him in the hips and he goes tumbling forward, catches himself, and these two will bolt, leaving our party with these two two held characters while the rest of the brigands scatter.
I'm shouting after one of those brigands. Have you no ties to these? Take your people and go.
They leave their people behind.
I will walk up
Weak
here.
swimmers. What did I tell you?
Bertolt, these people need to be handed over to the gods. At least these.
That's the thinking, fellow cleric of Philumbra. I believe we should just hand them over to their to the authorities. Yes.
Here's the
Well-
thing, though. What have we been told about this town? There may be laws, but they're unenforceable. Everybody's corrupted in this area. Handing over to the guards, they might be out on the streets tomorrow.
What are you saying?
I'm
Cornelius.
saying that they need to be dealt with. Otherwise,
Mm.
somebody
Ah.
will be in the same situation we're in today.
I see what you mean. Then maybe we should have, have some food with them and explain to them why the righteous path is with the gods.
Helen, you are seriously lost.
Oh, that's not what you meant.
I walk up to this held person here, Neal. I let him look at me because he's still aware, right? His eyes are moving.
Yeah, you can see that the pupils are expanding and contracting. He's definitely aware of what's happening.
I speak to him slowly. I say, "The fate of your life hangs in the balance, my friend. Consider your thoughts carefully." And I reach into my backpack and I will take out a mirror and I will hold the mirror up to him so he can stare at himself in the face for a few moments and consider what he's done. And I will use this opportunity to try and glean what I can about this man's intention. Does his eyes look scared? Does he look defiant? How does he seem?
Make me a charisma check.
Yes, sir.
Neil, when we cast spells, how often do we get them back?
In the
Every
morning
day.
after a good night's sleep, after you've had a proper rest.
Got it.
With a 22, you can see the fear in this man's eyes. He is terrified. He's magically held. His friends have left him. He's being stared down by a dwarven cleric.
How do his hand? Does he look like he's battle worn? Does he look like he's lived this life for a while, or is he young? Does he seem maybe like he's in this? He's new to this, and maybe he can find a better path.
Yeah, he's 19 years old, but there's little cuts and scrapes across his skin all over the place, like he's been in a lot of fights. You can see that there's still scabs on his knees and elbows, indicating he's recently taken a hard tumble to the ground and it's begun to heal over. His clothes are old and tattered. His boots don't actually match. One of them is clearly of a different make and model than the others. His weapon in his hand is a shiny new rapier that there's no way a guy like this could afford a rapier like this. He's either stolen it or he's taken it off of a dead person. Or maybe he killed someone for it. I don't know.
I have determined that this man, that the path that he is on is not the path that he is meant for. And deep down, he's a better person. I will stare at him, right? I withdraw the mirror. I'll raise my holy symbol, the moon, and kiss it, and then hold it to his chest. And then put it back there, let it fall back, and I'll say, Philumbra has judged this is not your time. I will leave you here to pursue a better path in life, but the next time I'm in these streets, I want to see you behaving more properly, lest Philumbra may change her mind. And I'll turn back to the party and say, I think this one can be let go.
I think he should stay in this position until the end of the spell, just to reflect on what just happened today.
Exactly that.
We can let it wear off naturally.
We could possibly also just take this rapier from him. I don't know if she
It's a good
should
idea.
Can any of us
holding
use
on to this weapon.
Yeah, we gotta make sure he doesn't come after us. Not that
Berthold,
we want to sell it.
Yeah.
how do you feel about that speech? Didn't he just sort of infringe on Tempos's area? Isn't Tempos the god of fate? Who is this poser cleric telling people what their fates are?
Yes.
Yeah,
Stir it up. Stir
I
the pot.
kind of I listened to that. I wasn't inspired. I may have rolled my eyes. I actually think it's wrong. My internal thoughts, which I choose not to share, are he is just going to go back to his ways, and that's fine. This is entirely unimportant in the grand scale of things.
This is just like a tiny pebble tossed into the river. It might cause an insignificant ripple, but is otherwise.
Exactly. Whether he changes his ways, whether he returns back to being a bandit, which is most likely the situation, none of this will matter.
See, seems like you're more focused on the big picture of the fate of the world, and maybe the dwarf is more focused less on the big picture but more on the like individual person. Maybe. Okay. Well,
Yes, I would say that.
bandits dealt with. The party can move on. Where are we going? We leaving town? We headed to the docks? What was the plan?
What do you guys think?
We did pick the rapier, yeah.
Yes. We can add 1 rapier to your character sheet.
Nice.
I will do so. for you.
Who wants to hold it? I really don't want it. It was
We can.
just that, yeah.
Barney can hold it if you want. I can put it in his pack. Or
Sure.
you can just take it, Cornelius, if you want it.
I think we should just sell it.
Yeah. All right. I put it on. I put it on Barney's pack for now, and we can get rid of it later.
Do you want to
We
sell
still
it
need to
before you
decide
leave
where
High
we're
Castle?
going. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we can do that.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't think we should stay here any longer. It sounds like we've attracted too much attention with this whole box stock. I guess in the future we should be more careful about being excited about this box. We should have contained our excitement and been more, clerical with
Yes.
our emotions.
Yes, we should have contained our excitement.
I'll make note of it. I'll do a better job tomorrow. This is a great learning today.
I enjoyed the scene that we caused.
Yeah. All right, what do you guys think about direction here? Just stepping out of character slightly. Should we go north through the hills? I think that's one option. Or I think we can sort of pass through the thistle forest and then find the river crux and follow it to Heatstroke. I'd say there are 2 options, like through the Dwarven lands and along the coast through Weatherlight, or through the forest and following the river around Fortune.
I like the to the north idea since you're dwarven and just seems like
Yeah.
out of danger.
I think we start in going to Tharnham, and then we either go through this tunnel if it exists, or if it doesn't, we hug the hills to the east.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good. Are you all right with that?
Yeah.
Jen? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, then we shall head out of the north gate, Neal, and
But
head
before
towards
we
the
do, we
river
need
town.
to shop for mirrors.
Oh yeah. Oh, well,
Wait,
that's a good thing.
I do have a question, fellow brother clerics. Do you believe there will be another town on the way where we could buy the mirrors? Because as far as I know, those are very heavy and complicated to carry. It
Surely
might be
the-
wise to buy them at the very last moment.
The greatest mirrors in all of Eridon can be constructed in Milfaldor. And if the tunnels are in place, we should be able to find our way there easily. And we'll need mechanisms so we can angle them in the right way. I'm sure that the dwarves there will be able to assist us with that.
That is true. We will also need some money to purchase said mirrors. And
That's
I doubt
true.
we have enough as of now.
Right. Everyone started the game with 100 gold, and then I bought gear for all of you. So I think everyone. Jen, you've got the most money. You've been collecting it. You have the worst gear, but the most money because you've been saving it for such a ritual. You have 75 gold remaining. Prices. Ryan, you have the least amount of money because you've got the best gear that you've been carrying around with you. You're down to 10 gold remaining. And Rump, you're right in the middle. You've got chain, part leather. So it's at 40 plus. You've got 40 gold remaining. And Nick, I think you bought your gear individually, so you actually tracked your cash spending.
Yeah, I've got
Okay.
30 with 31 gold left.
Excellent.
I also have a really good set of tarot cards. Is that gonna be
That'll
any
trade
expense?
you 2 gold for that because paper is very hard and expensive to make.
great?
Nick, you can sell this rapier. It's a really nice one. They'll give you 2/3 price for it, so you can get 10 gold without having to haggle or anything.
Well, I think it was Cornelius's idea to take the rapier, so he should take the 10 gold.
Great.
I actually think it was Helen's idea to take the raise.
Oh, it was my idea, but it was your idea to sell it. So it was such a great idea for you to say to sell it.
We'll put it in the coffers, and we'll find a good use for it.
That's very kind of you.
Now, where could we make money? I mean, there's a classic adventurer's way to make money, which is to kill monsters and loot them.
Well, do we know how much? I mean, like a mirror now is like trivial to buy, but I mean, how expensive are they now?
Yeah, but we're gonna need that. It's the mechanism, I think, that's gonna be more costly. Like, it's gonna have to be set in something that allows us to angle it, right?
Right.
Perhaps we'll find items along the way that we can sell when we get to Milfaldor. I mean, we can travel through the Harkin Wood, maybe kill some orcs or goblins or something. And I'm sure the tunnels and the hills will have creatures.
A small hand mirror that you might use to like look at your face, a little bit bigger than this disc, would go for about 10 gold pieces. So if you wanted to use small mirrors, you might have the cash already. If you wanted to use larger mirrors that could reflect more sunlight, it would be quite a bit more expensive.
Yeah, we're gonna need more money, absolutely.
Oh, we will need the biggest mirrors in the whole lands. Yes.
I correct the party and say, I believe all we will need are 4 hand mirrors positioned around the 4 corners of this stone. It's not about the size, but it's the intent.
The way
You sure
use
about
it.
that?
Positive, I say.
How do you know?
Because I know all things.
Is it your god that told you about this technology?
At the end of the day, rituals are rituals. It is not the very act of shining the light into this object will suffice. It does not matter. It matters not that the object of shining the light is larger. For the object we're shining on, its purpose is amplification.
That does sound like a reasonable, logical explanation. We will still need to find a way to bring forth all the water. Like,
We will, yeah.
yeah.
Bertold, you might be right, but how many spells do we all have access to that require expensive components? You know, the finest gems crafted by experts in order to cast a spell of a high level, or in order to enchant a blade, it needs to be made from precious metal and carved to the highest degree of expertship. And perhaps these mirrors in our rituals should be the same. Maybe they should be plated with gold, carved with runes.
It does feel like we should spare no expense for this grand moment that will save the world. Every bit of money we have and every possession we own should be sacrificed for this grand moment.
Although Bertold's wisdom could come to use here. We need gold, Bertold. You can see the future. Perhaps you can direct us to where Tempos will lead us to great riches.
Tempos tells me that all we need to do is go straight towards Heatstroke.
Wise.
Tempos tells me that with 4 simple hand mirrors, we will have the objects necessary for the ritual.
Then so be it. We can argue about this on the way. The journey ahead is long and arduous. Let's
get moving.
Yeah.
All right. You make it out of the city gates. You'll see that as you're making your way there, though, you're being followed. One of those, maybe 2 of those rogues that you just battled with, has been following you through the streets from a respectable distance, keeping a crowd between you and them, like popping up onto a box to keep a watch on you, and then like hurrying up to follow, and then popping up again to see what's happening. They're not trying to keep themselves too concealed, but they are keeping track of you. When you get to the gates themselves, you will see guards. This is one of the few places that are still actively guarded. There's maybe You can count up on the wall. There's like 8 archers, and then down at the gate there's 4 pikemen, and then there's an officer with a sword and a shield and some like a breastplate and some chainmail, and then another like 4 people near the officer. So 4 facing out, 4 facing in, 8 up top, 1 well-armed, well-armored officer. Is there anything you want to say or do with these people before you go? Doesn't seem like there is, but
I whispered to the group, "Can I ask the guards to stop those brigands from following us, or is that too suspicious as well?"
I'd say that's probably wise.
Okay, that's good. I'm hoping these guards can be trusted. I go up to the guards.
One of the
hello.
lower guards, the officer. Who is it that you speak to directly?
Anyone who's like at the entrance, like
Yeah.
not up there or something
Right,
like
one of
that.
the spearmen near down below, who's
Yeah.
facing on the inside. He's scanning the crowd, making sure that there's nothing dangerous or suspicious happening. No one's like smuggling bodies in or out of the town. But he sees you making eye contact, and as you approach, he dips his head in deep respect.
I give him a little nod too.
Mother of Illumis, a great honor to see you today. How may I be of service?
Thank you so much for your devotion to the gods. They are noted. I will do a prayer in your honor tonight before bedtime. I just wanted to share with you that there's these 2 guys over there that have been following us for quite some time. They are armed and suspicious. It would really make me feel more at peace if you could make sure that we're at least quite far away from this town before you let them out if they're still following us. I don't feel safe with them following me with those weapons.
Have they given you trouble? Your
They
Holiness?
they did try to cause some trouble, but we had a discussion and we convinced them that now was not the time to challenge the authority of the gods. However, they kept following us, so I'm a little worried. I'd feel very much at peace if you kept them in while we walked away. I would be very thankful.
He turns and whistles to the soldiers up top and calls out, "Rachel, Anna!" And 2 of the soldiers will turn with bows, and he'll like signal to them and signal out into the crowd, and they'll like knock an arrow but not like fully draw it, but like ready to fire if something happens. And the guard will walk past you into the crowd after the 2 rogues who begin to turn around and run in the other direction. The guard walks a little bit further, letting them run off before returning back. Says, "I think they will trouble you no more, but I will keep an eye out for the 2 of them. Make sure they don't follow you out."
Oh, very impressive. Well done. You really did give them a good scare. I bet they will think twice before committing any bad actions.
I wish I had your faith.
I
No
wish you a
ambushes in
great
the
day. I wish you a great day and a great night. May the light of Illumis shine upon you.
And and he kind of like gazes to the rest of the clerics, and may the fate of Tempos guide you, Malchus. You've served us well. Thank you, my lord. And he sees the Falumber cleric and stumbles over the words.
I wave him off, like he doesn't mean it.
Thank you for watching over my mother's soul. And out into the town.
You did great. You did great.
Just so everyone is aware, I am riding Barney at this stage.
Excellent. Barney can hold your weight, no problem. It's a
Yep.
sturdy mule.
He's a good lad.
Out of High Castle we go. We're going to take our second break right here. And when we come back, it sounds like the party's going to follow the Tam River to Confluence, and we'll see what happens from there. Catch you on the other side. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Light of Illumis. Now that we're out on the road, late afternoon, we're going to get out of town and probably have to camp near the Tam River before too long, when an important question has been raised.
Wait. So, as the sun begins to set, and it's that hour, where the sun shines perfectly, and it's like really great light for pictures.
Golden hour.
Yeah, I look across my party and I consider them and I think, damn, these guys, they be looking, and it's time to roll for hotness. I will go first and roll high, obviously. 13. That's a good looking dwarf right there.
That's a
Yeah, that's
good
good.
looking dwarf. Yeah. Slash R 3d6 if you want to roll your hotness.
dear.
It's because I'm sunburned.
Oh,
sorry,
It's the
It's like
skin
peeling
peeling. It's
skin
the-
everywhere.
Yeah.
Sort of
Like,
like
it would
red
be
spotchy.
decent, but I'm so sunburned. It's pretty shit.
Unlucky.
Mhm.
Carabas moves his eyes away
Oh
from.
no!
And he looks at Cornelius. Oh God.
All right.
So bad.
You know, I was gonna say
Pure
something
average.
bad, but
Wait.
now.
I roll for Barney. That's a good looking donkey right there.
Oh no, he's an average donkey.
Couple of uggos.
Oh. Oh.
Cerberus looks across the party and thinks to
And is
himself,
disappointed.
I'm the most handsome one here.
My
That's
mule's cuter than a couple of these.
Listen, look at that ass.
Ooh,
Get it?
low-hanging Fruit. Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get it.
All right. Our party makes their way to the Tam River. There is a crossing point at the Tam River, not too far from High Castle. There's a small little outpost of guards on your side. This crossing point is where the river gets a little bit wide, and there's like a switchback down the steep slopes on either side, and then you can cross and up the switchback. And on your side, on the High Castle side of this ravine with the river running through it, is a small little outpost of soldiers. And near this little outpost of soldiers, there are a couple of tents that have been pitched. Other travelers in the area stop here because it seems to be a safe spot. There's a little copse of trees that can provide a windbreak from the worst of the eastern winds. As the party arrives and begins to get the lay of the land, figure out where it is that they want to set down, Berthold, with his blessed watchfulness, will notice an oddity. Everyone is sort of resting for the day, or in a period of rest. The sun's not quite down yet, but this is the spot where people should be stopping. And yet, in the direction of High Castle, there are plumes of dust being kicked up, indicative of a group of riders going at high speeds, galloping in this direction. An oddity, for if someone were to be leaving a High Castle trying to get somewhere in a hurry on horseback, you're not going to get anywhere tonight. It's way too late to be leaving to reach any spot. And if you're going to stop here, there's no reason to gallop because you've got like an hour to get here. What are those plumes of dust and those horse riders meaning to you? Well,
Well, I'll just let the party know by saying those bandits, they followed us. They're trying to get us out in the open.
I would be surprised if it was the bandits. It seems like a whole lot of means to have all these horses. Maybe it's something worse. That stone we just got stolen from a powerful necromancer named the Count Vicious, I believe. Maybe he sent his men after us.
Perhaps we should travel to the crossing and past the guards. Any pursuers will be at least slowed down.
Yes, maybe we should rush there. That could maybe give us a
You can find an
little
alleyway.
coverage.
Yeah, are we close?
yeah, you were very near to this little outpost. Judging by the distance between you and the horses, you figure you could get down the valley and part halfway up the other side before the horses arrive.
I mean,
Do I
can we
s-
be in the outpost? That
Totally.
seems safer.
Yeah, the outpost is just a couple of like semi-permanent tents that have been set up, and a little archery platform that's built out over the ravine just to give a little bit of better view and firing positions. So you could walk up and hang out right in and amongst the guards if you'd like. They'll acknowledge you and they'll, make sure you don't get too close to their stuff. They don't want any thieves or nonsense. They've set up like a little rope with some sticks in the ground to create like a gentle perimeter. You could walk over it wouldn't be a problem. But just as a sign of like, don't come any closer to this. How
Yeah.
close would you like to get?
I think we would just like to pass them and then camp within, 100 feet of them.
Sure.
Mm.
Yeah.
And we can just let them know, I'll say, my name's Kerberos. We're on a quest authorized by the king. I'm an advisor to his court. and believe we're being pursued by bandits and would like to rest here for the night.
Please rest. This is a safe place. No bandits will cause you harm as long as we are near.
Do
You're
they
a
look
good-
pretty powerful?
These soldiers, yeah.
They have
Just
like
maybe-
proper armor and stuff.
Well, the archers don't have any armor on whatsoever, but the spearmen have shields and like a mix of chain and leather. And there's a few proper knights here. Yep, you see 3 knights who have like plate mail with chain, like a breastplate and like chain limbs coming off the sides of it, scabbards with long swords, shields which are set away for right now, no need for them in use except for the one who's on duty, and then a couple of servants to like make food and tend to the horses. There's a small little stall with a couple of horses parked in it. Yeah, the knights are probably 5th level fighters, maybe 3rd level if times are really desperate. The soldiers all probably have, like the ones with spears and shield, probably have like 17 AC. Maybe 2 hit dice, plus 1 to hit, 2d4 damage. Pretty solid.
Yeah, good enough, I would say. Probably a stronger fighting force than us, so. Yeah,
Yeah,
great. All
I
right, well,
do
we
feel
make
safer.
camp. Yeah.
Yeah, you make camp, and sure enough, the galloping horses arrive, and they get closer, and you can see that it is a group of 7. There are 5... I don't know what you would call them, henchmen, maybe? They're wearing like uniforms, but they're not great uniforms. They're like hand stitched. They're all sort of the same color, and it's just basically like a plain tabard in like a blue-red stripe pattern. And then there is one like proper mercenary bodyguard looking guy who's got some scale mail, like orange colored scales that come all the way up and down, a shield on the side of his horse, a long spear which could be used as a lance or a fighting weapon, and then like a collection of other arms nearby, and a nice thick heavy helmet. And at the back of the party is a wizard, and she is wearing like blue and black robes and has dark hair. And the lot will arrive, and the woman, the wizard at the back, will reach out and tap the bodyguard, the mercenary-looking guy, and point in the direction of you. And he'll come over, grab 2 of the 5 henchmen, and trot their horses up to the group of clerics. You have a minute or 2 before they arrive if you want to say something amongst each other.
Are the guards letting them past?
Yeah, they're not looking aggressive or anything. The guards don't seem to be too concerned about them.
Do we recognize any of them from previously?
Mm-mm, definitely not.
Or the uniforms?
They're like handmade blue and red striped uniforms. There's no symbols
Doesn't
of
ring
a
a bell.
noble house or anything. No, you've never seen this before.
Okay.
Nick, you've lived in High Castle for a very, very long time. Make me a local history check.
Yes, sir. 26.
Yeah. You don't know these symbols themselves, but High Castle has become sort of like a safe haven for people, especially spellcasters who have been, I don't want to say hunted down, but they're prime targets for banditry from all their wealth. And people have sort of set up their own personal bodyguards under their own colors like this. You don't recognize this group, but you've seen other sort of like people with money putting together a band of warriors to protect them. Clearly, this is some sort of wealthy wizard, or the wizard is working for a wealthy person, not a noble family, but just someone that has money. And this is their like ragtag group of enforcers, or henchmen of some kind.
No, I don't want to do anything before they get here. I'll sort of step forward to the front of the party to await, them to get here.
Mm-hmm.
No
one else wants to say?
Just say, let's hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
As they get close, I'll call like, "Hold there!
Yeah.
What is your business with us?"
The man with the lance and the armor will, stop his horse and signal to the others to stop. He'll take off his helmet with one hand. And you'll see that it's not a man under here at all. It's a woman with long, flowing golden hair. And she will call out. Her name is...
Roll for hotness. Thank you. Since we started doing it, all right. You said long golden hair. I want to see it.
long golden hair. That's the
They're
best part
falling
about her.
apart.
That's the 5
With
on the hotness
split
roll.
ends.
Yeah.
Yeah. She'll pull off her helmet and say, my name is Pad. I am a servant of, and she sort of points back to the wizard well behind her, of my mistress Minnie. I'm here looking for the clerics that have just left High Castle. I presume the 4 of you are they? My mistress Minnie would like to speak with you.
You are correct. Yes, that's fine. You can share our food.
Please, right this way. And she will turn her horse. The henchman will move out to the sides, and she will, if you want, walk back towards the wizard with you beside her.
I look back to the party and like, you should all come.
Yeah,
I'm gonna follow,
great.
but I'll try to stay a little further away if I'm holding the box. I know it radiates a ton of magical energy, so.
Yeah.
I don't have my shield, just my axe. It's on my back, and I'll follow the mercenary
That's a good
with my
question.
party in tow.
Everybody else with shields, the reason I ask is because equipping a shield takes a round, but wearing your shield is a signal of I'm ready to do battle, and it sort of has a certain amount of social impact on how people will perceive you. So, Trump and Ryuzilla, are you armed with your shield out? Are you signaling to people that you're ready for a fight, or are you signaling to people that you're just a chill dude?
I'm a chill dude.
Yeah, we're just walking behind him, and their backs are to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can-
What are you saying?
I'm not about to attack them. I'm just trying to,
Yeah.
There was
yeah,
an implication.
I don't I don't have my shield up.
All right, cool. You can all arrive at Minnie, who's a little bit away from everything else, and she will give you a polite bow. Fathers and mother, the clerics before us, I'm blessed to see you all here today. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
Of course. How can we
Then
assist
how-
you?
Given how fast you came, I imagine you have something important to tell us.
Certainly do. Not 4 hours ago, this very day, I was casting a spell routinely when I noticed something, a brightness in the detection path that could only mean one thing. I immediately dispatched my folks, but we could not find it. I cast another detect magic spell a little bit later and saw the emanations from beyond the gate. We rallied our horses, asked the guards at the gate, and they said a party of 4 clerics had recently gone through. Do you know of which I speak?
We know what you're speaking about, and we would advise that you leave well enough alone.
I mean you no harm, but I come requesting your aid. I don't know how much you know about arcane magic. I have... Make sure that no one else is nearby. My men have uncovered a wand. A wand whose magic is sealed behind a command word, which my identification spells will not reveal to me. But that thing you carry can empower my magic much more strongly, and with it, I could learn the command word for my wand. I would like to make an exchange. Let me simply borrow for one spell that object that you carry that I shall not name here. And in exchange, I can offer you money and manpower for whatever quest you may be on ahead. I understand if you need to talk amongst yourselves to confer over this matter, but I come to you in sincerity, honesty. And here, she reaches to her side and pulls out a bag of 10 gold coins and tosses it over as a token of my good faith.
I'll catch it and nod and say, I need to confer with my friends here. And I'll turn around and walk a little bit away from her.
Yeah, she signals her horsemen to like move near her. They're still like kind of in front of her to keep her safe. But they give you space to talk amongst yourselves.
Helen, I don't know how much you know about this thing we're carrying around, but I wouldn't be so certain that a single spell might not use the whole thing up. It may even end the friendly wizard's life the moment she tries to interact with it. I would suggest that for our own sake, for the sake of Eridon and the sake of the entire world, and for hers in particular, we decline this offer. There's other ways to make gold.
I completely agree. I think this extremely powerful artifact is not to be trifled with, and unlocking the power from a simple magical wand is definitely not worth the risk. We should treat this as a single charge object that will be used at the end of our quest to save the world.
They're not paying attention to us, right?
No.
They are watching you, but they're like not in earshot.
Okay. I want to go somewhere like out of eyesight and just kind of like casually look at some rocks on the ground, and I want to find one that is similar like size to our stone.
What is your polite excuse to walk away without saying?
I gotta go use the bathroom.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a leak.
Yeah. You go walk behind a tree or some bushes to take a leak. You can find a rock that looks just like it's just a fucking rock off the ground. Yeah.
Right.
Looks exactly like it.
All right. So I have the rock concealed, and I come back and suggest to the party, you know, we can test her. We can. And I kind of like explain to them that I have this rock. We can give her the box with this rock inside and see what her intentions are.
Well, there's another. I do think she'll
know when it fails, but then when it fails, we can give her if she tries it. You know, if she doesn't try to do anything funny, then we can maybe let her use it for real.
I don't feel comfortable using a powerful artifact for such a puny task. What are we gonna do? We're gonna become a store for people who wants to supercharge their magical powers? Is that the purpose the gods have given us for this quest?
Well, here's the more important thing. I don't know if she realizes the great possibility that she will die if she casts a spell. So maybe we should let her know that politely, and then this will solve itself.
I would like to inform you, fellow brothers of faith, that I do have the spell Zone of Truth prepared if we want to have a very honest conversation with her. That is an option.
Yes, I was. And also, if I want to just read her memory, we can do that too.
In all fairness, I don't think the woman is lying. What did I grab this rock
for then? What?
I appreciate the rock ID, Brother Cornelius. I think it will come into play. You should hold on to that rock.
I'll keep it.
My
I believe
Cornelius,
it will come in handy.
Perhaps you have another occupation as a rogue in store for you.
Yeah.
Why don't we just explain to her that we have a grand plan for this item? Give her 10 gold back and, wish her well with her.
I agree. It's the best course of action.
Does anybody have a way to know more about her wand, maybe?
We could ask her about it.
No,
I mean, helping her get information about the command word.
This is not our issue.
This might be a good time to ask, just how much do you know about this rock, Sister Helen? Could it cause, how likely is it to cause death upon use?
It is quite likely. I wouldn't be surprised that at the end of this journey I die using this this rock and casting this spell for my god Illumis. But you know,
grand sacrifice.
I am prepared to die to rid the land of the undead. Isn't that the most holy thing a cleric can do?
Yes, it would be a small price.
Yes, exactly. I agree. One life for the life of...
Not one life. 4 lives.
5 lives if you include Barney.
The donkey can live.
I mean, I expect to die, but we could think of a way to protect everyone else around me. Maybe it's part of the ritual.
Perhaps questions for later in our journey.
Yes,
For now,
yes,
we should
yes.
deal with this wizard. Although,
But,
Cornelius, I would like to note that mere hours outside the walls of the city, you attempt to lead us into the maelstrom already of chaos.
That's what I'm here for.
I do appreciate your creativity with this stone, however. I do believe there is a place for it.
The death thing was not part of my knowledge when I was coming up.
I turned back from the party. and
I
walked
didn't
towards
realize
the wizard.
quite how strong that stone was.
Yeah, you can imagine it as just, us casually carrying around a very explosive device.
A nuclear bomb.
Yes.
Got it.
Mimi, was it? Minnie?
Yeah, turn back to the
Yeah,
several
I
wizards.
walked back to her.
Yes, it is Minnie.
Minnie, I appreciate your offer, and it's true that we are in need of gold coins to aid us in our journey here. But I'm afraid that I'll have to decline, and let me outline the reasons here. Firstly, this stone of ours, it's powerful, but we're not sure what can be done with it before it's consumed. We have a goal in mind, and we have to preserve its power until the time we can release it. Secondly, we're all pretty convinced here there's a decent chance that interacting with this thing with any sort of magic will have a high chance of resulting in our immediate death. And I would suspect that you may be a master of the arcane, but this power is likely beyond the comprehension of you or any of the other wizards left in Eridon. So I respectfully decline and hope that you understand. And you may have your 10 gold back.
I nudge him a bit about the 10 gold at that point.
Yeah. I throw the sack of 10 gold back. You're still welcome to eat with us if you are tired and in need of nourishment.
Let me put your mind at ease, good cleric of Lumbra. What did you say your name was?
I didn't, but my name is Kerberos.
Father Kerberos. Let me tell you, I do know some about this item you carry. My arcane training has taught me a great much. I studied under one of the great wizards of Eridon long ago. There was an enchanter in Shirebrook. Well, not exactly. There was a wizard in Shirebrook by the name of Aldrich, under which I have studied for many, many years, decades ago. And under his tutelage, I have learned quite a bit about these stones, these rare, precious stones. I would only be using a fraction of the energy within. Certainly not enough that whatever your intents are would be disrupted. So let me put your mind at ease to issue number 1. As for issue number 2, you're right. These are dangerous tools. Dangerous enough that wouldn't you want to know how they work? I could provide you guidance, wisdom, teach you what I know, and show you how to operate such a component under the proper circumstances so that you too may use it in peace and safety. And as a third point, I don't know where you travel, but the times are dangerous. Undead swarm the golden seas out further beyond the Tam River. I can offer you manpower to guide you where you need to be. I can offer you gold, if that is needed, and perhaps the use of my own spells. I could accompany you upon this trip as an assistant, depending on the particulars. If not, you can buy mercenaries.
Excuse me if I'm a little bit rude here, Minnie, but you offer a great deal just to unlock the secrets of a wand. It could just be a basic spell. Why is it so important to you? Maybe your master, Aldrich and Shirebrook, if he's still alive, could help you unlock the wand himself without need for such dangerous magics.
Unfortunately, he and Shirebrook are no more. The wand could be nothing, but in all likelihood, it is something. Wands are great objects of power with tremendous stored magic within. Even if it is a simple spell, having it at my disposal like this is well worth a small fortune. I have everything but the command word.
I'll add, I don't suppose you know any teleportation magic, do you?
She shakes her head. No, I can muster a ball of flame that will erupt in a 40-foot diameter, but teleportation is beyond me at this point in time.
I think to myself that this is just too good to be true. Like, she's basically offering everything we need, implying that she has prior knowledge of what we're trying to achieve here, and I'm feeling a bit suspicious about it. I think about consulting with the party again, so I look over my shoulder to gauge everyone's thoughts right now.
I give Kerberos a look that says,
Nice.
Why don't you...
I've made it.
You just kind of stare into her soul a little bit.
Yes. You took my no alignment spell off me, Neal, that I thought I had. I just don't feel like we can trust her. Bertolt, Helen, what do you guys think?
Are we away from her, or are we
No,
talking
I'm
about
kind of. You're communicating in looks right now, so just give me a look that says your thoughts.
I looked at your looks and conclude that you guys don't trust her. I was tempted to trust her because I tend to trust people in general, but I give a look that says maybe I should cast Zone of Truth.
I look at Helen and I like that too.
You can probably tell from my question that I'm at least a little curious. I've got a positive look on my face.
Okay, I turn back around and say, well, perhaps you can offer more than I first envisioned, but you must understand our caution here. Like you said, dangerous times, and this is powerful magic. There are many who would lie, cheat, and steal to get their hands on it. Would you be willing to subject yourself to a zone of truth?
Yeah, yes, I would.
Interesting. I literally say that out loud.
Excellent. It's exactly as I expected.
Yes.
Then
She dismounts
why don't
from
you-
her horse, as does her bodyguard. The other 5 remain mounted.
Why don't you command your guards here to make camp for the night, and you can eat with us. We'll discuss and converse on the subject, and when the sun sets, we'll cast our spell.
Splendid. We did not bring anything with which to make camp. We expected to return to the city. But we can prepare whatever it is that camping supplies you brought. Did you bring tents or food or things with which to cook?
We totally bought all that before this session with our gold and have bedrolls and everything.
Then excellent. I shall unpack it off of your mule and set it up. And she snaps her fingers to her guards, and 2 of them dismount and begin to make your camp on your behalf.
I go over to Barney and I don't let them touch him. I will unpack the stuff from my mule myself. Thank you.
Okay. Right.
And I will lead Barney to a nice tree. A nice
So
tree,
kind of
like
you.
one of those trees, right, where there's no sheep around and the grass is really nice and long. There's a few sort of interesting, like dandelions and other stuff in there. I tie him to that tree. He's gonna have a good night. Yeah.
Campfire can be set, tents will be pitched, bedrolls rolled out. The food that you brought earlier, Jen, please subtract 20 gold from your character sheet since you bought all this stuff earlier.
I'll
Crap,
pay.
okay.
I'll pay for it. It's all right. I got it.
Sure. Camp gets made. You can see Minnie very quickly settles down into a very calm state. She sits sort of cross-legged as her henchmen wander around doing things. Her personal bodyguard, which is the relationship that you seem to be getting here, stands near her, like right behind her and off to the side a little bit. Doesn't take his hands, far from his hips. He's always ready for combat, but in these trying, difficult times, it's his position. And soon enough, the sun begins to set, and the henchmen have made whatever stew that you have supplies for, or whatever, burgers or trail rations, whatever it is that you packed. Jen, would you pack? Or Nick, since you bought the food, would you pack?
Traveling rations. So it's going to be bits of cheese, some nuts, some dried fruit, some jerky,
Maybe though, actually, since this is our first day out of town, maybe I have some like fresh meat just for this first day that we can cook in the stew. Obviously, it'll go bad, but we can save the dry rations for later in the journey.
Excellent. All right. It
So
is
we've
so.
probably got some like goat or something.
It's all been packed and made, and everyone sits down, enjoys a nice little meal. The guards talk mostly amongst themselves. They don't really seem interested in what's going on over here with all these clerics. You would know as a cleric, some people love you, and some people are like, ooh, gotta stay away from those clerics. There's too much judgment happening over there. So this behavior of people keeping a certain distance is not at all unusual. The bodyguard doesn't say shit because that's his job. And Minnie makes, polite conversation about who you are and where you come from. She asks each of your names and your towns of origin and tries to get like a little backstory. How receptive are you to revealing your origins?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. Cornelius?
Yeah, just nothing too revealing about what we're doing, but like in the past, sure.
Okay. What about you, Berthold?
I'm extremely revealing because what I see is a chance to make our journey at a much higher chance of success.
And Helen?
I'm pretty transparent about why what caused me at least to leave, where I come from. Travel across the sea, and then the horror I've lived when I realized there were, the lands were in shambles. But I don't talk about, the divine quest and all that.
Right.
Also, I don't personally have the Zone of Truth spell, but I figure I'd know about it. Yeah.
Definitely.
Could you tell me about how long it'll last and how many people it can affect?
It will last 1 round per level. 1 round is what, a minute?
1 minute?
Yeah, a minute.
And we're level 5.
So 5 minutes, yeah.
So it will last 5 minutes.
And its size is a 25 by 25 foot square. So as many people as can fit in 25 by 25.
Okay. I will, in the open here, say, since we all seem to be on the same side here, would you all agree to be in the Zone of Truth as well? I, of course, will agree.
I will.
Of course.
Yes.
We all look at Cornelius. Oh, okay. Before we get into that, sorry, go ahead.
I will specify that it is possible for somebody to attempt to resist the Zone of Truth and successfully do so.
Would you know if they resisted?
No.
I don't think so.
I look at Minnie. So, Minnie, you know what's in our box. Perhaps I could get a look at that wand of yours? I'm interested.
Yes, she considers after a moment and heads back to her horse and unpacks a cloth from it and unwraps it, revealing to you a wand made out of nickel. And it has like a little etching that creates a spiral all the way down from like the thick end, which is maybe a ½ inch in diameter, all the way down to the fine point over a course of like a 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet long.
Okay. I mean, I take a look at it. I don't think there's much I can discern from it.
No. Minnie, do you have the identification spell prepared today?
No, I cast it yesterday. I did not expect to be in this spot of fortune. I did bring my spell books with me, though, and if we come to an agreement, it isn't a long spell. It does take 8 hours to cast. I would prefer to do it within the confines of my study. If your mission is not time urgent, we could head back to my castle together, and I would spend the day in preparation.
I mean, how certain can you be that this stone won't explode or erupt into flames when you try and cast magic on it? Because you're right, maybe you'll only use a portion of the power, but if it goes wrong, the whole thing could be destroyed, couldn't it?
She nods. Yes, it is dangerous. The important thing when dealing with stones like this is to consider them as a component. They are not the thing through which you channel your magic. They're the flavoring and the seasoning upon your spice. You don't want to oversalt your soup. You don't want to you wouldn't cast an identify spell through this rock. You would say, with identify in particular, I would use the rock and scrape it gently in the circle around which we were going to cast the spell, and then the wine for the identify spell I would pour over the rock. Thus, we would take a small fraction of the power and imbue it in the ritual itself, rather than bringing the whole stone into force in the moment. The idea is to amplify without overcharging. That answer your question?
I suppose it does, but I really can't get over the roadblock here that there is a non-zero chance that it will be destroyed in the casting of this spell.
There is a non-zero chance that you die on the journey, as you lack protection. Wherever it is you're going, which I have not asked, nor have I asked your purpose, I assume 4 clerics such as you, well, 3 clerics such as you plus a cleric of Malchus can be up to only good things.
Correct.
I'm
Yes.
not in great approval.
Well,
How do you
and then
feel
I
about
suppose
that,
it's
Cornelius?
Just laughing to myself.
it's par for the course. He knows he's a bad egg.
It's okay, Malchus. We're really glad that you're here with us. Well, is
well.
it time for a zone of truth now that I've spoken this truth?
Before we do that, I kind of want to give her like an ocular pat down and look and see, like, does she have any rings on? Any sort of like anything looking magical that may help her in resisting this?
Yeah.
Why don't you make me both a charisma and a perception check? One for her physical objects on her, and one for like her demeanor and what you can extract just by like, the look.
Okay, a charisma and a what?
Perception, the CHR and the PCP. Excellent. So personality-wise, like judging her and what's going
The
on,
one.
she's a
That's the
mystery, man. This woman is full of dark secrets. Like she could be harboring the secrets to eternal life in those eyes. There's something about her that you can't quite place your finger on, and maybe it's your inner Malchus nature that like you can't really trust anyone, but there's something fishy about this woman. As for her gear, she's indeed wearing a engraved golden ring written in, like, the engravings on the outside are written in Elven, not common. It's definitely not like a wedding ring or anything like that. It's made of gold, and it is like highly polished. A normal gold ring will have like small scratches and small little markings on it, like from the wear and tear over time. This thing is like she just polished it yesterday. It's quite possibly magical.
Okay, I ask her, I say, before we do the zone of truth, I insist you remove any jewelry that you're wearing. And I kind of motion to the
Nice.
ring she's got on.
She will take the ring off her finger and hand it to her bodyguard, and give you like a single nod of approval.
Great.
Impressive. I will cast a zone of truth. Do we want to, discuss the type of questions we want to ask?
We probably should know what we're going to
Yeah.
ask. Yeah, we need to
Yeah.
verify her story.
Let's wing it. That'll be more fun.
I agree.
All right. I guess zone of truth. 5 minutes starts now. Let's go.
Right. The 4 of you plus the woman are in the zone of truth. She's just at the edge of it. She and her bodyguard are both within the realm.
I like that her bodyguard is in it. I like a second source of truth. It's a nice addition.
Okay.
Um,
5 minutes starts now. Go.
I'll start. Minnie, how confident are you that whatever you intend to do with the stone will not consume its power totally?
Extremely confident. Very high confidence interval.
Okay, I look to someone else.
Yeah. Let's start with some simple ones. Why did you follow us?
I seek the Philosopher's Stone that you carry.
To what end?
In order to uncover the command word of my wand.
And any others?
My intent in searching you is for the command word of my wand.
What
Why
are
is-
all the reasons that you know we have the Philosopher's Stone?
Only one object in existence that I know of will shine with so much magic as to be seen across town when my detect magic spell's radius is only 60 feet. Only one thing I know of shines that brightly, an object of legend.
Do you think identifying the code word of a simple wand is justified use for such an item?
I believe I have a different philosophy on the principles of magic than you. What does magic do but serve our purposes and our needs? A philosopher's stone is a tool to an end.
Why is this wand so important to you?
I don't understand the question.
Why would you go through such trouble to discover the common word for this wand?
Its owner died, or they could tell me its command word. Without it, the wand is useless, and my magic will not divine its name. Its
When you say
command word.
died, did you kill
Yeah.
them?
Yes.
I look at the bodyguard and I say, do you trust her?
That's some chaos you're causing there.
I trust her to pay me, he says.
Do you
That
trust
is-
her to be truthful? Yeah, I feel like he's being dodgy in the zone of truth.
Why did you kill your old master?
I did not kill my old master.
Or I mean, the previous owner of the wand, of this wand.
She looks to her bodyguard for a moment, and you can see like she's trying to do something, but the words aren't coming. And eventually, she says, "We had a difference in agreement over who should own the wand."
Do you have any any part of the dead previous owner? Perhaps this could be solved with a simple speak with dead spell.
It has been tried.
And what was the problem?
Shakes her head. A satisfactory answer could not be reached.
After using this stone, do you intend to give it back to us?
I intend to
Wow.
return the stone to its rightful owner.
Okay, and who is the rightful owner of this stone?
Objection.
I do not know which of you four is the rightful owner of this stone, but at this time, that is who it is. I'm sure it belonged to someone before you took it from them, though. Who that is, I
you-
do not know.
Will
Why
you
did it?
go? Will you go on your? Will you be on your way if we decline to give you access to this?
Be on my way?
Will you chase us?
Will you
if we
leave peacefully?
refuse? Yes, thank you. Better English. Sorry, in the land of longboard, I've learned other languages before common, unfortunately.
It's understandable, Helen. Do not worry. Your Solomese is far better than mine, I'm sure.
I will not attack you in this place.
In this place, I see. Of course, not with the guards present.
Should we trust you?
I would like you to. I
That's
think
not an
that
answer to
is
my question.
A good idea. Should is subjective.
You find me
If-
handsome?
No.
Yes, very. Actually, she says as Jen realizes the spell is up, and she a smile comes across her face as she says, "Yes, very."
I give a look to the other that says the spell is over.
No,
It
that
must
last
be.
question was still within the confines. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being so honest with us.
I think we should all confer one more time.
We will
I
have an
agree.
answer for you in the morning, Minnie.
It is advised to sleep on such matters. And you should prepare your identify spell at the same time.
Yes. I believe it is obvious that this stone is so important that normally things I would be uncomfortable asking due to privacy concerns, I would not, but this seems like a good time to do so. Would you allow me to witness the moment that you killed the previous wand's owner?
Excuse me? What do you
This
mean
would be
witness? That it's long in the past.
This would be done through casting a memory read on you and living that memory as if it were mine.
It was an unpleasant encounter. I do not wish to relive it myself. But if it will give you peace of mind, then yes. Yes, you may. If you promise to me, Cleric of Tempos, that memory and that memory alone is the one you wish to read, then yes, I will subject myself to your intrusions.
It is a judgment of character and the judgment of why you deem this one so important. So I believe it is the right memory to read. It would make me feel a lot more comfortable. So yes, that is the memory.
She motions her bodyguard to step away. She sort of like shakes herself loose. It's been getting on and towards evening, so she'll take off the hood that she was wearing that was like keeping her warm, and pull her hair back and prepare herself. I think for this spell you have to be probably touching her head in some way, shape, or form. So why don't you describe how what it looks like? Are you standing in front of her, behind her? Are you sitting? Is it her head, or is it like her palms you're holding? What does it look like when you cast Read Memory? Are your eyes closed? Are they open?
I think I'll take out I'll take out this very valuable looking piece of linen cloth. It's got threads of gold in it, and I place it on top of her head, and I am touching that cloth.
Okay, so the cloth is the conduit between her mind and your body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, I apologize for subjecting you. Actually, you will not be... Well, I am causing you to remember it now, but you will not have to live through the same thing that I am experiencing.
Okay. So I think that this goes in 1/50th the actual time, so you can view like an hour of memory in about a round. And it will last for 1 round per level, so you can learn...
Oh, correction. I don't say that previous thing. The subject experiences the memory at the same time, the caster.
Okay. So you can experience about 4 hours of her memory.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the memory that you get is her and her guards, including this bodyguard right here, but you don't recognize the other faces, engaged in combat in a hallway in what appears to be some sort of stone building. At first it looks like it might be a large building, but as her men in front of her are like engaged in melee with some other human warriors, and the wizard in question, this woman, is like casting spells, which you, since you're reading her memory, are magic missile spells, slaying the guards in front of them. They push to the end of the hallway where there is a door that has been like barred, and her soldiers try to like knock it down over and over again with their shoulders. They try to kick it in. She will use a knock spell, which will undo the bar, and her soldiers then try to like shove it open. There's a little bit of combat with sword blades coming through from the other side, stabbing at her people. One of them like is wounded and begins to retreat, and she puts a hand on his back and pushes him forward to get through the door, commanding them like, now's the time, go forward, push soldiers, push. After a little back and forth foray. The door swings open. The injured soldier stumbles through, immediately gets hacked down by someone on the side. The other soldiers come into the room, and you can see that this is actually the last room here. There's windows on the back, windows on the sides. It must have been like a small building because this room's only 20 feet wide, and yet there's windows on 3 of the 4 sides, and the hallway's coming out of the very middle of it. And this is some small sort of throne room. Like it might be like a local fiefdom or something. And it's definitely in a state of decay. Like maybe the people who are in here have recently occupied it and haven't had time to like sweep up because there's dust and dirt everywhere. There's like, some crap lying around. There's a tapestry that's maybe 15 feet off the ground where the base of it is, and it's like sort of cockeyed and sort of burned from some previous engagement, and whoever it is here right now didn't take the time to like reposition it. And across the room on the dais just below the tapestry are 2 soldiers with a woman behind them, a spellcaster of some sort, and then the 4 soldiers who are fighting right here in the front entryway. And without so much as like a how do you do, without so much as a question, the spellcaster whose memories you're reading throws a fireball down the hallway, down the room, hitting the back of the room, burning those folks, engulfing the soldiers, including one of her own, in the large fireball blast. The person on the other side, the other spellcaster, goes down. The other 2 warriors, one of them survives and tries to scramble to safety, like backing up into a corner, hiding behind her shield. The wizard in question commands her soldiers to put that one down, leave no survivors, and then goes and rifles through the charred remains of the wizard in question, picks up some gold, picks up some items, grabs a spell book, and then they explore the rest of this area. There's another room just to like the right of the hallway. If you're coming down the hallway, it would be like on the other side of your wall right there. Doesn't find much in there. It looks like a bed chamber of sorts, but the room on the left, that's where like the little workshop is. There's a couple of books, there's a whole bunch of spell components neatly organized on some shelves, and there's a wand. The woman comes over, the mage in question comes over, picks up the wand, turns it over, and tells her people to search through the books carefully, don't tear a page. And you have 4 hours of memory, and it's pretty much just the soldiers paging through these books and the woman looking through them too. Someone finds a diary, and she like quickly skims through the diary. There's some things in like a cipher, and she puts the diary aside and tells someone that we'll have to read the cipher another time. And she is clearly frantically looking for everything. She does find a slew of potions. She finds another spell book, some extra gold, some weapons and armor and gems, a few scrolls, all of which like bring her excitement and joy. You're reading her memory. Do you get her emotional state or just the view?
Experiences the memory with the same intensity as the subject. So it might have helped on like learning why like she just went in blasting, I guess, too.
Yeah. Well, when she finds one of the spell books, she will say, this is it. This is what we came for. And you can, that same intensity, you can feel like the rush of excitement as she gets her hands on this book with this like blue binding around it and a piece of like red metal that holds the thing together. She picks it up gingerly and carefully, like using a pair of tongs that she brought, that she like produces from a bag at her side, some silver tongs that she uses to lift the spell book and carefully place it in a cloth bag, which then gets placed in another bag, which then gets placed in a box that they've brought. Clearly she's like wary of this object. And after searching the room for other things, piling them in that same chest as well, she comes back to the wand and turns it over a few times, trying to like figure out what it might be. Tells everyone to pack up the books. They can bring a box for those books. So they have to like find some other bags, and then heads back over to the charred remains of the other spellcaster she killed. Goes to like pull a piece of hair, but it's like singed and burning and smells terrible. And so she has one of her soldiers hack off a hand of the spellcaster to bring it back for speak with dead purposes. And I think that is where the memories fade.
Yeah, after I remark that is quite the memory.
It's not a pleasant one.
I think at what she was thinking the moment that she went in the room and saw those wizards. Were those enemies? Was this done out of personal gain? I mean, did they do wrong?
Um, because you have plenty of time left, because that definitely didn't take 4 hours. So you begin to probe her other memories, that might be
Oh no,
related
no,
to
just
this. Or are you asking her?
I was asking about that memory.
This is a question to the wizardess, right?
No,
No.
like I experienced that memory, so I want to know what I experienced.
Gotcha.
When,
Right. When she came in, was she experiencing or feeling?
Yeah, is this for revenge? Was this for greed?
This was pretty clearly not about revenge. Like, there's a sense of recognition of the other wizard, like I know who you are. You're the one that I'm expecting to be at the end of this room. But there wasn't any strong emotion attached to this other person. It wasn't hatred or vengeance in her heart. It wasn't justice. Like, thank God we finally brought the killer to justice. It was just like, that's the one. There she is. Any other things you want to read into?
No, I will respect her wishes and only read that memory.
Well, that's it then. The spell ends. The woman looks to you.
Well, clearly you are what you say. You are trying to use the stone to identify this wand. I confirmed to her in the party.
Good.
As I said, I think I would prefer to sleep on it, Minnie. I'm sure you can take the night here.
My men and I have neither tent nor bedding. High Castle's but a 20-minute gallop from here. Perhaps we'll come by in the morning near dawn and speak with you then.
That sounds very
Oh,
reasonable.
it was that close. Okay.
Yeah,
We really didn't get very far from our starting point.
We probably should have stayed in the pub.
It's fine.
20-minute gallop is like a 2-hour walk though.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh,
No.
that's
We
true,
we
yeah.
made
No,
some route. Yeah, it's good. All right.
While you're here, I did want to say there was one major thing that concerned me in your responses. You mentioned you intended to you didn't sound like you were going to give the stone back to us after you used it.
I think it's interesting how two people can hear the same words and derive very different meanings from it. But is that not what the soothsayers of old are known for saying one thing and meaning two? I don't agree with your interpretation, but I respect your diligence.
I'm inclined to let you use the stone. I'll be straightforward in that, but I would also like you to be more forthright in giving us the stone back after you use it. Can we work out a deal there? I am aware that perhaps initially you did not want to give us back the stone, but if you've changed your mind now, perhaps we can still work with you.
I would be happy to return the stone to you and aid you in the learning of how best to use it so you do not bring harm to yourself or others by accident.
Wonderful.
Well, it sounds like we've got a lot of food for thought to mull over in our sleeps and pray to the gods for advice. I wish you a good and restful night. And we will tell you tomorrow our verdict.
May Illumis shine brightly upon all of us till the end of our days.
Oh, lovely to know that you're also a believer in Illumis.
He lights my way each and every day.
Ah, wonderful. That does make me feel better. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you for your time, she says as she gets up and heads off with her soldiers. They remount their horses and start with the trot, and then pause maybe 500 feet away or so. Talk amongst themselves for a little bit, and then the whole lot of them, all 7, gallop off in the direction of High Castle, disappearing into the night. You lose sight of them after, probably another 1,000 feet or so.
Right, after they left for a little bit, I collapse. I was putting on a brave front. That is a side effect of this spell.
I don't trust her. I don't think we should give her the stone.
I agree, but it also feels like the day is running out and we should sleep on it and then discuss about it when we wake up.
Well, I would
tomorrow.
say if our answer is no, we should leave before dawn. This woman is quite clearly capable of rapid violence.
Wouldn't she be able to track us down anyways?
Would she?
Perhaps not.
How far away and distance are we from the town right now?
2 hours, which is like 8 miles? No, 5 miles?
Okay. It seems like this object maybe... Do we want to run an experiment to see how far away we can sense this object from with detect magic?
Well, we have the box, the Faraday cage.
Right. I mean, one of us will walk back to town and then cast detect magic and try to see if we can sense it.
It's a 2-hour trek and the sun is set. We should work on the assumption that any wizards near us will know what this is.
That is correct.
Okay.
I'll be more straightforward. I was trying to give us a way out since I know Nick, it's super late for you, and I was like, we should sleep on it.
Well, yeah, I don't know if
I can go in a long time.
I don't know if Neal needs to know our answer before the next session is what I'm worried about.
Nope. I can run and roll with anything you want, but it might be nice if you wanted to, if you want to bail, then we could say you leave in the night. That's a nice ending point. Or if you want to talk,
let's just have a vote. Let's have a vote. I vote that we leave before dawn.
I vote that we did not give the stone to this person, but I don't have a strong position on, leaving before dawn, telling her we're not gonna do it, and if she wants to fight us, it looks scary, but so be it. But I'm not against leaving before dawn either.
I vote that we do let her use it and do let her accompany us in this grand mission.
Cornelius, what say thee?
I'm torn between the smart thing and the chaotic thing.
Wait, which one is which? They're both smart and chaotic.
I think I didn't trust her answers. She was far too dodgy for me, and so was her hired mercenary. And so I don't believe a word she says. However, letting her use it would be pretty interesting.
I think I get what you mean, but yeah, I think Sister Helen is extremely protective of the usage of the stone and does not feel like it should be used for something so small as to identifying a wand that has been stolen from another wizard. It seems
Absolutely.
It seems like, based on what you're telling us, Bertolt, if you share that memory. I don't know if you do.
I'll share.
Do you? Yeah, it sounds like it's somebody that just chases magical information, and that's her driver, and she will stop at nothing for it.
She won't give it back either. Like, I reckon even if she thinks she'll give it back now, once she has hold of it and uses it to cast a spell, she'll be like, why the fuck would I give it back when I could just use this to blow them up and keep it for myself?
I believe Sister Helen believes that this is our first test sent to us by the unholy. We must resist in the name of our gods.
Well, I mean, she's obviously able to kill without hate or malice, but also with seemingly without a reason. So she's a cold-blooded killer. I mean, we can't trust that type of person.
So would you rather we discuss with her and explain to her that we're not gonna give her the one, or would you
No.
rather just flee it down?
Let's leave a
I
note
mean,
with the gods and head out.
if we tell her no here, we're safe, but we're not. We haven't traveled, and obviously they can track us. So, I mean, putting some distance between us would be good, but
You did answer that she would let us go, right?
I don't
Uh,
trust her. I don't trust
she-
her.
That was only
said-
the zone of truth.
Yes,
She
in
can
the zone
lie.
of truth, she tried to avoid the reality by saying she would let us go for now.
Yeah.
At
She
that
said she wouldn't
moment.
kill us. She wouldn't attack us here. She said.
Yeah, here with the guards.
I
but
think that was a
there
separate
without
question,
the guards.
but I believe there was a question of if we decide not to let her use it, could we go our separate ways peacefully? And that was a yes.
She said yes here. Like it was very specific to
Yes.
this moment.
Mhm.
Okay.
Or this
Yeah.
location, I thought.
Yeah, this location with the
Mhm.
guards. Yeah.
So it sounds like this. It's 3-1 on not trusting. Okay, that's good. But should
I
we?
changed my vote. Let's leave.
Okay. Should we just leave a note with the guards, politely declining, and we'll head out before dawn?
I think our
Oh.
absence is note enough.
I enjoy a good note, you know. If she
I think we
actually
should-
had good
yeah.
intentions, it feels
Yeah.
more polite too.
We should have a semblance of politeness here because she is rash and she is violent. So if she feels affronted, she may chase after us. If she feels respected, she might just move on.
Or any of
Uh,
you particularly well versed in etiquette?
Yeah, what is the etiquette on cold-blooded killers who want your infinitely powerful object? Will the note dissuade her from challenging us?
That's a good point. All right. Point well made.
We can write the note for next time. One of us will.
All right. I think we're going to bail in the morning before dawn, Neal.
Okay. Well, that will wrap us up for our first session of the Light of Illumis. We will be back next week at the same time for our second session. Thank you, everybody, for coming together. This group is perfect. I'm very excited for the next couple of sessions here. Anyone want to say anything before we head out?
I'm really thankful for everyone to be assembled here today, not just the clerics, but the people behind the clerics and the DM as well. Like, it's so cool to have this whole group together. And I'm really happy to be here because I already, as usual, Neal has instilled the fear in me. I'm extremely paranoid for the next session, and I love it.
Aren't you just a paranoid person yourself? Why you gotta blame me for these things?
I feel you have
so
a
unfair.
special Neal fear instilling way about you.
You do have a way of that, Neal.
It's so uncalled for.
We don't trust your NPCs.
That's ridiculous.
Louis is my
also-
favorite
wait.
NPC ever.
It's meta. This is meta, and I wouldn't use it in character, but you absolutely used the bad guy voice for that woman. And I heard it 100%.
Oh, I have a bad guy voice?
Yeah, you have a bad guy voice. It slipped out at the end. there.
I wanted to use several Mafia references during that scene, but I refrained.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens next week on Light of Illumis. Bye-bye, everybody.
See you guys.
Bye.